13 years ago. I have called the Council of Deities today. And for good reason, said Hagoromo to the group of deities sitting before him. And what shall that be? Asked Boshu. The fire deity. I believe the savior of our cruel shinobi world is about to be born. And I called to see who was in favor of giving him our blessing, replied Hagoromo. Your naivety without justification has almost destroyed this shinobi world. And we didn't go as far as to give them our blessing. Why him? Asked Reiko. Deity of lightning. I sensed this kid. He has Asura's spirit clinging to him harder than any other person in history. He is predicted to have the Kyuubi sealed inside of him, and so he will understand everyone's pain. And his determination to protect those he can call his friends will make him a great leader, said Hagoromo. And with the attack of Kaguya coming up within this kid's lifetime, what choice do we have? They murmured amongst themselves before they decided. We shall go through with it. We will give him our blessing and he will help save our shinobi world, said Futo, deity of wind. Then it is settled, Hagoromo said. He summoned a scroll from thin air and began to read. This is the blessing of the gods. A trust for you to do what is right. You shall obtain power of all 8 elements. From the deity of the elements. Fire, water, wind, earth, lightning, light, dark and wood. From the 10 tails Jinchuriki you shall control the energy of nature. And from Hamura the all-seeing eyes. You will have the body of a Senju and eyes of an Uchiha. Wisdom of an Otsutsuki and chakra of 10 Uzumakis. I Hagoromo Otsutsuki bequeath the blessing of gods onto you. And use it to protect the shinobi worlds. He then looked to find Naruto's spirit. To see he was still in his mom's stomach. Save this world from Kaguya. He screamed as he sent the blessing to Naruto. And that starts his moments as a god amongst men. Hagoromo then looked down and said to himself, come into this world a man and come out a legend. Chapter 1 The Flashback of Naruto's Life. Part 1. Naruto was 4 when he got kicked out of the orphanage and has lived on the streets for months. Day in and day out he gets blank stares and beatings for being the 9 tails Jinchuriki. He accepted that people treat him like this for no reason. Because he couldn't find a reason. He lived off of garbage for months and walked the hell of loneliness and confusion with seemingly no escape. But an escape was going to come soon. One day, Naruto was crying to himself in an alley. All of the depression was getting to him and he had negative thoughts. Why do people treat me this way? He thought to himself. What did I do to deserve this? I'll tell you, said the person standing at the front of an angry mob. Kyuubi. What do you mean Kyuubi? Said Naruto. I mean that you are the Kyuubi, said the leader. The 4th Hokage chose you to be its host. And now we must finish what he started. What? Naruto said horrified. We will kill the Kyuubi. The leader exclaimed. While all of the people screamed in determination to kill what ended many people important to them. They ran at Naruto but they suddenly stopped in their tracks. Currently standing in front of them was a man wearing ripped-up green clothing. He wasn't wearing his Jonin vest. But it is obvious he was one. He had black, spiky hair. And a small beard on his chin. Hello Naruto, said the man. My name is Shikaku Nara. And I have come to protect you. Naruto gave him a questioning look in response and then noticed that the shadows of him and everyone looked weird. I see you noticed. This is called the Shadow Possession Jutsu. I connect my shadow to theirs and then control their body, said Shikaku. Then swiftly someone came down and swooped Naruto off his feet. And before he noticed, he was on the roof of the closest building. He was scared if something happened. And then he turned around to see a man with long, spiky, blonde hair and wearing a trench coat just standing there. And my name is Inoichi Yamanaka. We came to save you, said Inoichi. What? Asked Naruto. His face showing happiness, sadness and shock all at once. Tears streaming down his face and his vulnerability shone. Allow me to explain, said Inoichi. Back until she died in the Kyuubi attack. We were good friends with your mom. And my mom? Said Naruto. Wanting to know about her. The person he wanted to meet beyond all else. Yes. Shikaku. My friend Shoza who is currently caught up in a mission. and myself were all dear friends with her," said Inoichi. But back on topic. Then the Kyuubi came and went on a rampage. Buildings and training fields destroyed and many dead. The fourth Hokage tried to fight it, but it didn't prove too effective. So he decided to seal it. Then what? Asked Naruto. Inoichi had a single tear rolling down the left side of his face. As she was the only Uzumaki in the village, she was the only one with the means necessary to restrain the Kyuubi so it could be sealed, and died in the process, said Inoichi quietly. Naruto was shocked. He just heard his mom died protecting the village from the Kyuubi, and something else was bugging him. So. Why protect me? Said Naruto. If I am the Kyuubi, why protect me? I learned this back in those times. That you are not the Kyuubi. You are its cell, said Inoichi. Your mom was the Jinchuriki before you. And she was the kindest person I've ever met. Then something came to his mind and he had a look of horror on his face. What's wrong? Asked Naruto. It's nothing, replied Inoichi. Flashback. Hey guys. It's Kushina's birthday today. What should we do? Asked Choza. Don't ask me, I'm at a loss, said Inoichi. Let's just do the cliché thing. Anything else may be too much of a drag, said Shikaku. I guess it's not a bad idea, said Inoichi. So I guess the plan is just pretend we forgot the birthday and set up a small party at one of our places later tonight, said Choza. So let's do this, they all said in unison. While they are setting up the party, they were all at Inoichi's house setting up the party, and they were close to done, when suddenly, knock knock knock. Shikaku. Go check the door. That could be Minato, said Inoichi. What a drag. Okay. I'll do it, responded Shikaku. He walked over to the door, only to open it and see Kushina. She was a bit taller than Shikaku, and had red hair going down to her waist. She also had light skin, blue eyes and a nice figure. Hey Kushina. What's up? Shikaku said, trying his best to stall for what little time they needed. Shit. Why now? We are almost done, thought Shikaku. Hey Shukaku. Why are you with them? Asked Kushina. Just hanging out, said Shukaku. Better question. What are you doing here? That's right. By any chance, do you remember what day it is today? Asked Kushina, trying to hold back her temper until she knew the answer. Should I? Asked Shikaku. She then just snapped. Slowly his face showed more and more signs of anger until her eyes became blank in pure rage. Her hair was more or less standing on edge and a fiery aura got released that was so strong, Shikaku could have sworn he saw it. Look. He said before he was cut off by, shut up and get them out here. Now, she screamed with such fierceness that Shukaku was sweating puddles. And he had to use every last ounce of willpower to remain standing. He merely nodded and walked towards the door and opened it. Inoichi and Shuza heard the scream and saw Shukaku, so they went out, only to experience something that no one deserved. There was so killing intent it could make a biju crap its non-existent pants. Now, I will ask it again, said Kushina in a slightly calmer tone. But the key was nonetheless as before. What day is it today? They were about to say they didn't remember, when Inoichi said something that changed everyone's mind. It's not worth it, guys. I'm just going to say it, said Inoichi in a shaky voice. It's your birthday. And why did you come so early? She calmed down substantially and gave them a confused look before Shukaku answered the question. We were setting up a party for you. And if you came 10 minutes later we would have been done. And I would not have been mentally scarred, said Shukaku before Choza said another point that got her mad again. We even had Minato on this, said Choza. Suddenly her killing intent went up again and she screamed. That's why. Do you know how heartbreaking it is when your fiancé forgets your birthday? Then they lost all strength in their knees and simply collapsed. Their shins wet from all the sweat puddling in the ground. And a feeling of being unable to move, and shivering uncontrollably being combined to form an uncomfortable situation to say the least. That is before she ran up and knocked them out. Flashback ends. I still don't know what happened after that. Inoichi thought when the flashback ended. Okay. Naruto. Inoichi started. It's not safe outside. I'll bring you to my house. You may even make a friend. Chapter over. Extras. What happened after? Directly after the events of the flashback, Minato comes. Hey guys. You need some help? Minato said until he saw them on their stomach, inside a pool of their own sweat and some blood, and Kushina standing over them. What the hell happened? He said to Kushina, who gave him a glare that tells him, obey, or perish. Don't pull something like this again or your balls won't live to have second kids. Screamed Kushina. Wait. You're pregnant? Asked Minato in astonishment. You'll know the answer by tomorrow. Kushina responded with a devilish grin. Here we are Naruto. Started Inoichi once a large mansion was in view. The Yamanaka compound. Naruto stared in awe at it. His room back in the orphanage was the biggest and only place he ever lived. And now he sees this huge place and it's overwhelming. You live here? Naruto asked. It seemed hard to believe that he and maybe 2 or 3 others lived there alone. So does the rest of the clan, Inoichi said. The ones that didn't move out at least. Inoichi then proceeded to knock on the door and someone with blonde hair of a slightly lighter shade opened the door. He looked sort of familiar to Inoichi, but noticeably younger and more physically fit. Hello Inoichi-sama, said the unknown Yamanaka. Hello Toru. Inoichi responded as they bowed at each other and Inoichi went to the clan head living quarters. Inoichi entered along with Naruto to see 2 people. One was cooking, and one was trying to finish a puzzle. The one who was cooking had black hair. She was about 5 feet 7, had black hair and had light skin. She had black eyes, or at least it seemed that way and at first glance, seems to have a light, outgoing personality. The one trying to finish a puzzle was a bit different though. She had bright, short, blonde hair, and light aqua eyes. She wore an orange and white dress and had an orange clip in her hair to keep it out of the way. But she was not even a month older than Naruto. 17 days if we go canon. This is my family, said Inoichi, holding out his hand to show them. Hello. Both of them said as they walked to Naruto to greet him. Naruto simply tried to hide behind Inoichi because back in the orphanage, he never had a good experience with meeting kids. Don't worry. We don't bite, the black-haired woman said playfully, sticking out her hand for Naruto to shake it. My name is Mina. Nice to meet you. Naruto hesitantly shook her hand before Ino went up to him and said, My name is Ino. Do you want to play? Ino didn't even wait for a response as she took Naruto's hand and pulled him towards the half-finished puzzle on the floor. So, what's your name? Ino asked. And Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto said. So, do you want to help with the puzzle? Ino said, while attempting to pull a reluctant Naruto down to her. Well. Naruto muttered, not knowing if he would be interfering. Don't be nervous. This is fun, Ino said. Naruto just sat down next to her and helped whenever she had some trouble and put in a few pieces here and there. Back to Inoichi and Mina. They already got along. Huh? Mina said. I guess so, replied Inoichi. Then soon after Mina checked the food and realized it was ready. Naruto. Ino. Come here. Food's ready, yelled Mina as she started putting some food, plates, as well as other silverware, on the table. Ino stopped what she was doing and ran over to the table with a soon-to-follow Naruto going as well. They all sat around a medium-sized, rectangular table and said their thanks. It almost saddened Inoichi as he felt the meaning of each word so strongly. It's been his whole life since anyone treated him to a meal. And he got to admit, with ramen being the highest quality of food he ate in his life, he was mentally drooling over the food, but just didn't want to seem rude. When it was over, they started conversation and ate. They all had a light-hearted conversation about things that happened to them. And Naruto just didn't know them well, so he stayed out of it and ate quietly to the side. That is until Inoichi stated the question making up most of Naruto's mind at that moment. So Naruto, we will tell you what will happen to you after this, said Inoichi. Naruto listened intently so he could finally figure out what was going on. We predicted that eventually the day would come that people decide it's about time to get rid of it," stated Inoichi, saying it instead of Kyuubi since Ino was there. "So we made some preparations." "Who's we?" Naruto openly said. "Choza, Shikaku and myself," Inoichi said. "We decided that we will alternate between all of us to take care of you. It's not safe to live on the street anymore, and after your mother, we can't just leave you. So we will take you in turns." Naruto was amazed that he was finally taken in. Someone accepted him and will take care of him. Or 3 families of someone's to be accurate. "Are really?" Naruto said happily, tears forming at the corners of his eyes ready to spew out. "Yup. Welcome to the first part of your new family," said Inoichi. Naruto started wiping away his tears of joy, but Mina went and hugged him before she said, "Just let it all out." Naruto complied, tears streaming down Mina's shirt as he hugged back like he was never going to let go. This was soon followed by Ino hugging them both and saying, "I have a brother." Inoichi hugged them all and said, "This is going to be the best choice I ever made. I can tell already." This made Naruto cry even more. The joy was indescribable. The joy of not having a family for your whole life and suddenly having one that takes you in while everyone else treats you like trash. When that was over, Inoichi went over that they will get a bed for him eventually, but he would have to sleep on the couch for now. And how he will switch between the 3 families about once or twice a month and other stuff like that. Then Ino went over and said, "Let's go play again, Ni-san." Naruto nodded happily and went to play with her other toys. This actually consisted mostly of Ino trying to convince Naruto to play house with her dolls. But it was way better than nothing. Later that night Naruto went to sleep and thought, "Is this what love feels like?" This went on for about 2 weeks. Naruto spends his time playing with Ino. Whether it would be tag, puzzles, and Ino getting Naruto to pick flowers with her. He was really good at finding good ones and caught on making crowns with them pretty quickly. But picking flowers is one thing. Wearing that is another. And no amount of convincing from Ino could get him to wear them. Often Sakura would come over. And Naruto, being who he is, played with them regardless of all the things that no 4-year-old boy in their right minds would want to do. The fun soon came to a temporary end as he met the person who would be taking care of him next came. "Okay. Naruto, the next person will come soon," Inoichi called out to Naruto, who was playing in the living room with Ino. Ding dong, they heard the doorbell and Inoichi walked towards the door. When he opened it he saw Shikaku there, ready for Naruto. "Hello Shikaku," Inoichi said as he led him inside to see Naruto. "Hey Naruto," Shukaku called out to Naruto. Naruto's head turned and saw the person who caught that horde in a weird shadow. "Hello Shika," Naruto said, forgetting the last part of the name. "What is it again?" "Shukaku," he responded. "It's only been 2 weeks. Sorry," Naruto said, scratching the back of his head in embarrassment. "Don't worry about it," said Shukaku. "Anyways, say goodbye to them. But don't worry, you'll be here again in a month or so," Shukaku said. Naruto nodded in response and hugged Ino. "I'll miss you, Ni-san," Ino said in a sad voice. "Don't worry. It's a month. It's not like it's that long of a time," Naruto said. "But I will miss you too." Then Inoichi and Mina walked up to both of them and hugged Naruto as well. When the parents released their embrace, Ino kissed him on the cheek and said, "We love you, Ni-san," resulting in a nod from the parents. Naruto was yet again crying tears of joy, and a smile took hold that threatened to split his face. Naruto then wiped off the tears, stood tall, and with pride on his face he said for the first time, "I love you too." With that happy note, he left with Shikaku, wanting to meet the Nara family and meet another kid his age. Shikaku said his name was Shikamaru. Right? Naruto thought. Shikaku and Naruto was walking for close to 10 minutes before a similarly large mansion came into view. This one had a black roof and thick layers of wood for walls. The doors were only slightly bigger than that of a normal house, and a large open area remains visible around it with hills and resting areas all around. Shikaku went up to the door, with Naruto right behind him, and knocked. Naruto, starting to feel a bit more nervous, timidly stood behind Shukaku and performing Hinata's trademark finger fidgeting. After a few seconds the door opened and there stood a woman with dark brown hair pulled back in a ponytail and similar colored eyes. She was wearing a reddish-pink t-shirt and a black skirt and a face that signifies that she just woke up. "Hello, honey," Shikaku said to his now-revealed wife. "Hello," she responded, giving Shukaku a quick peck on the lips. "I heard you were coming with Naruto. Where is he?" Shikaku leaned out of the way a little bit to show a Naruto timidly standing there. Even for a 4-year-old seeming small because of his posture and nervous aura. Shukaku's wife leaned down a bit and put her hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto looked up to see a gentle smile on her face and her saying, "Don't worry. You are welcome here." Naruto gave her a surprised face and she responded with, "My name is Yoshino. And you're Naruto, right? Nice to meet you." Naruto gave her a smile and nothing happened until she remembered something. "Oh yeah. My son is outside. He's a day older than Ino. Maybe you will like him." Naruto gave her a quick nod before he walked outside to the backyard. He was expecting to see him running around or trying to find animals. But he was laid back on the grass, looking up at the clouds, and doing nothing. He passed quite a few Naras the way out, and he was the only one who looked remotely close to Naruto's age. So he walked closer. "Hello. My name is Naruto. You're Shikamaru, right?" said Naruto slightly nervously. Shikamaru just stood up and stretched and then turned around to see the spiky-haired kid walking towards him. Shikamaru was slightly taller than Naruto. And while his black hair isn't naturally spiky, the way he puts up his hair makes his head look like a pineapple. He wore a light green t-shirt and black short. And by the looks of it, he is unusually relaxed for someone of that age. Shikamaru nodded his head in response and Naruto responded sort of nervously. "Do you wanna play something?" Shikamaru just shook his head and said, "It's too much of a drag. I don't wanna run." Naruto just nodded his head and just walked around, finding animals such as deer, squirrels and many caterpillars. He always found animals intriguing but something else as well. As the minutes ticked by and Naruto found more intriguing things about the backyard, he turned back to Shikamaru. He wasn't sleeping. He was just laying there. Not sleeping but looking up at the sky. Isn't he bored? Naruto thought to himself, wondering what was so interesting about cloud watching. Naruto walked towards Shikamaru and looked down at him. He just decided to join. So he laid down next to Shikamaru. And it didn't take him long before he got restless and suddenly asked, "What the hell is so interesting about doing nothing?" "Relax, Naruto. You're way too uptight," said Shikamaru. "Look for shapes in the clouds. Perceive the freedom they have and allow the scene to relax you." Naruto considered those words carefully and took a deep breath. As he held it, he allowed his tension to build up, and released it at an exhale. While ever so slowly, he started to relax. He looked up at the clouds and shapes that he saw flooded his imagination. And he thought clearly, not quite at Shikamaru's level, but more clear than the hyperactive him. That one looks like a bird. And that one sort of like an elephant. Naruto said, going on and on about shapes he sees. It was apparent to Shikamaru that despite his excited way of speaking then, he isn't as tense as before. And he is letting his imagination run wild. Over time Shikamaru started talking as well. "That one looks like a tree," said Naruto. "Nope. Clearly a snake," said Shikamaru. "Okay. Now that one is definitely a bowl of ramen," said Naruto, pointing at a new cloud. "Okay. I'll admit that much," responded Shikamaru. As time went on, even Naruto started becoming a bit more quiet and Shikamaru was enjoying having someone who could appreciate relaxing and looking up at the clouds. Besides his father, of course. "I'm glad you came, Naruto," Shikamaru thought to himself, looking at Naruto's more relaxed face. "Guys, dinner will be ready in an hour," screamed Yoshino to the two boys. "Okay, Mom," Shikamaru said in response. Yoshino just went inside. And had, right before a flashback, thought, "I guess it was a good choice after all." Flashback the day after he and Inoichi saved Naruto. Shikaku was standing in the living room for an important conversation. Yoshino. Can you come here real quick? Shikaku called out. It didn't take more than a few seconds before she came and asked. What's wrong, darling? Remember I told you yesterday how the day finally came that the citizens of Konoha wouldn't tolerate Naruto's existence any longer? Shikaku said. She nodded but then realized what he was implying and then said. No. I'm not letting that happen. I'm sorry. But I made a promise to Kushina that I intend to keep, said Shikaku. We have a son now. How can you support allowing the thing that nearly decimated the village and killed our past Hokage near our own son? Screamed Yoshino. You were childhood friends with Kushina. How can you say he is the Kyuubi? Said Shikaku in a slightly louder voice. Well, he isn't a pure-blooded Uzumaki like Kushina. How would you know he can resist it? Asked Yoshino loudly. Shikaku realized that he isn't supposed to answer that. But for the sake of the promise, he will break the rule this one time. Because the one who sealed the Kyuubi within Naruto is also the dominant half of Naruto's genetics. Realization suddenly struck Yoshino like lightning. Why Naruto's last name was Uzumaki? Keep in mind that Kushina giving birth was secret. Why he and Shikamaru were so close in age. And goddamn it, he looks like a younger version of Minato except with shorter hair, whiskers and Kushina's facial structure. It couldn't have been more obvious. But she missed it. Look, whether you join me or not, I intend to at least give him a chance, said Shikaku. So he will be here. At least for our first 2-week period, and after we can continue this conversation. But give him a chance. Yoshino gave a nod in defeat and they went their separate ways, living their lives and mentally preparing to bring another kid in the house for 2 weeks. End flashback. Yoshino left her thoughts and quickly realized that the food was starting to overcook, so she turned all the stoves and the oven off and put the food into trays and bowls. Soon Naruto and Shikamaru showed up. And Shukaku soon after, and they sat around the table and started eating. But unlike in the Yamanaka household, he felt less tense and definitely less nervous. He even somewhat contributed to conversations. Or what 4-year-old him would consider contributing. But his stay in the Nara house wasn't all cloud gazing. During those 2 weeks Naruto played ninja with other kids and impressed quite a few people. Keep in mind that the parents had no idea Naruto was playing with them at the time, so the kids had no reason to say no. But Shikamaru didn't participate every time. And when he did, it was for the first 2 rounds max. So Naruto met a few other kids. Choza even came for a drink at the Nara house with Inoichi, but he didn't bring Choji because it was a surprise. But it was a surprise to Naruto to see that despite all of the laziness that the 2 Shikas possessed, he did do some light training. 12 push-ups, 20 sit-ups, 15 jumping jacks, 10 squats and some taijutsu training daily. Naruto joined them for once but found it too easy, so he made a vow to do double that until it becomes too easy as well. But soon enough even that fun ended as Naruto went to the next house. Choji's. And, extras. This is what happened at the night when Inoichi and Shuza came for a drink. Naruto walked up to the table and saw a small cup filled with a yellowish substance. And not knowing what it was, decided to smell it. He took a sniff. And was in shock by its rancid, almost burning smell. But then he looked and saw 3 Junins drinking it. And he was led to one logical conclusion. This must be some performance-enhancing drink that makes people stronger. And it tastes and smells disgusting due to the ingredients. Naruto thought to himself. But that won't stop me. I will get strong. So he lifted up the shot glass and downed it in one go. Choza saw this and said, "No. Naruto. You can't drink that." All 3 of the adults looked towards Naruto and the empty shot glass and noticed that he started going off balance. "Okay Naruto. Go to Shikamaru's room and get some rest. You may need the sleep," Shikaku said. "You go to bed." Naruto screamed in a drunk voice as he leapt to Shikaku. And when he missed, proceeded to destroy everything. With the gods, Hagoromo heard a crashing noise, so looked in his plot machine of a crystal ball and saw the same kid he gave his blessing to, destroying the house, and screaming, "I'm not even tired," as a bunch of adults tried to hold him down. "Bacchus. Here now," Hagoromo said. Soon after Bacchus appeared in a flashy entrance of light. "What up H. Gramps?" Bacchus said in a slurred voice. As you are the god of booze, I gotta ask. Did you add your chakra into the blessing without permission and give our savior an enhanced drunken fist? Asked Hagoromo. Actually, as the god of animals, I took the party animals and had them. Wait a second. Why is there no party? I want a party, said Bacchus in a very slurred voice that was approaching a whining 6-year-old by the end. How drunk are you? Asked Hagoromo. And Bacchus's response was a well thought out. Why hiccup yes. A couple of days passed since the night of the Drunken Fist massacre and the house was still kind of a mess. It was also coincidentally the day Naruto would meet the last kid of the Ino Shika-cho, Choji Akamichi. Hey Shikamaru? Asked Naruto as they laid down on the grass, cloud-gazing. What's up? Responded Shikamaru. You met Choji before, right? Naruto said, to which Shikamaru gave him a nod. What is he like? Asked Naruto. You will probably like him more than me or Ino, said Shikamaru. He is very kind. Loves to play ninja but gets excluded a lot because he's a bit slow. And lastly, he has a huge appetite. He sounds fun. But no way he has a bigger appetite than me, said Naruto. I've known him for a year and I've never gone 5 minutes with him not eating a potato chip, said Shikamaru. I take that back, said Naruto. But does he train? Yeah. But not as Shikaku may train you, said Choza as he walked towards Naruto and Shikamaru. The Akamichi clan's clothing has a weave of a special chakra metal mixed in with their clothes. And when chakra gets infused with the clothes, the weight increases. I am actually carrying 80 kilograms as we speak. Naruto was boggled by this. He acted as if he were carrying nothing, but he is carrying almost 200 pounds. But after that shock he realized something. Okay. I'm ready to go, said Naruto. Choza gave him a quick nod in response and Naruto gave Shikamaru help up. Naruto and Shikamaru then did their secret handshake, too hard to describe. Not going to try. And said their byes. As Naruto and Choza walked inside they passed by Shikaku and Yoshino. And Naruto gave them a surprisingly hard hug for a 4-year-old. Thank you. Thank you so much, Naruto said with some tears of joy coming from his eyes. They hugged him back and said, Don't mention it. We are family, right? Yoshino nodded in agreement and Naruto gave a final squeeze before he let go. Wipes off his eyes and said his goodbyes. 10 minutes later Choza and Naruto were walking. Naruto still too uncomfortable to break the ice. And a relatively normal-sized house came into view. Is that your house? Asked Naruto. Yes it is, said Choza. I thought you were a clan head. Why don't you have a big house like Shikaku for everyone? Asked Naruto. We want our space. So we have a small village area for everyone to live in, said Choza. Oh. Naruto said, not entirely understanding. Okay. They knocked on the door, and out came someone with very tan skin, and looked a bit heavier than Choza. She has black hair and dark eyes as well as a purple shirt and brown shorts. It was Karu, Choza's wife. I'm back, Choza said jokingly while receiving a kiss from Karu. She then looked down at Naruto and said, Hello Naruto. Don't be shy, come in. Naruto did and immediately Choza started telling him. Choji is in his room right now. He wanted to see you for days now. Naruto nodded and ran to the room before he realized he didn't know where it is. It felt like he searched every room before he found a chubby boy with spiky brown hair, a half light green, half dark green t-shirt, and white shorts. You're Choji, right? Asked Naruto. Choji turned to the door and saw the spiky-haired boy standing there. So you're Naruto? He nodded before walking up to Choji and sat next to him. Do you want a chip? Asked Choji. Naruto nodded and helped himself to a chip and realized that it was actually amazing. What are these chips? They're so good, asked Naruto. They're Akamichi clan chips. We make amazing food. Just wait until dinner, Choji said as he literally drooled over the thought of dinner. Is it better than the food at Ino's house? Asked Naruto. Way better. And a lot more too, said Choji. Then Naruto started to drool and Choji looked at him and thought, is that what I look like when I drool? They then continued to play with Choji's nearly endless supply of toys. 3 hours later. I'm bored. Let's go to the park, said Choji. Naruto nodded. And they left through the front door and ran to the park. Naruto ran ahead and then looked back to see a tired Choji, so he ran back and asked, "Why are you so tired?" "I just started weight training yesterday. I am carrying 5 pounds right now," said Choji. "Can I try it?" Naruto asked. Choji nodded his head and unzipped his jacket. He then handed it over to Naruto and Naruto put it on. Choji then continued to run. And Naruto could still keep up. "I guess this is definitely harder than normal," said Naruto. "I'm surprised you can keep up," said Choji. "It isn't that hard," said Naruto. A minute later an area with slides and swings came into view and no one there. So they ran faster and went on the swings. Naruto took off the jacket and did a competition to see who could swing the highest. After Naruto won that, they played a game of tag. And Naruto had the weighted jacket and was it. Choji started to run up the slide. So he ran to the ladder to get up to the top and accidentally ran into someone. This person was a girl with pink hair that Naruto recognized. "Sakura?" asked Naruto. "Naruto?" asked Sakura. "Sakura, I see you. You need to hide, bet," Ino said. And then she saw Naruto there. "Nisan. What are you doing here?" asked Ino. "Playing tag with Choji," said Naruto. "I see you and Sakura are playing hide and seek. Can we play?" Ino nodded without thinking and said, "2 people isn't enough for a good game anyways. Chouji. Come here. We are playing hide and seek." Naruto called out to Choji. "Oh. Come on. It's not fun with 2 people," Choji said before he saw Ino and Sakura. "Ino." Choji called out in surprise. "Hi Choji. Nice to see you again," Ino said with a relatively neutral expression on her face. "So? Let's play," said Sakura. They played for a bit until eventually Sakura's dad came to pick them up. A few terrible puns later. And Choji had just about enough of the park. "Hey Naruto. Let's go. I'm sure dinner will be ready soon," said Choji. Naruto was about to nod. Until he suddenly sensed fear and killing intent coming from a nearby alleyway. "Can you wait here a bit longer?" said Naruto. He didn't even wait for an answer as he dropped the weighted jacket he almost forgot he was wearing and ran towards the alleyway. In the alleyway we see a grown man and a little girl with dark blue hair and light purple eyes standing. The little girl shivering with fear at the man releasing the killing intent. "A Hyuga huh?" said the man. "Just my lucky day." The little girl just looked at the man in horror as he walked closer. She took a step back and found there was a wall in the way. "You Hyugas are all scum. Talking about how you're the most prestigious clan. But most of your members are just above slaves," said the man. "Your clan has so much power but only ever think of the rich and themselves. You have eyes that view people's chakra. But not one of you become doctors. Or do anything beyond the battlefield. Just a waste." The man pulled out a knife and raised it. And would have slashed if not for. "Leave her alone." He turned around. Blanked out for a bit. And suddenly just chuckled. "First the Hyuga heiress and now the Nine-Tails brat. This is the best day of my life." Naruto ignored it and ran towards the killer. Naruto kicked the killer. And after a small grunt of pain he stabbed Naruto in the calf. Naruto brought his leg back in pain and tripped back. "My cousin," he said as he stabbed Naruto in the shoulder. Blood dripping down his side and he cringed in pain. "My uncle," he said as he stabbed Naruto in his right arm. "My grandpa. 2 friends and a nephew. All dead because of you." Naruto then saw the man raise his knife for the decisive blow. All because of the Kyuubi. Then all of a sudden, things started moving a bit slower. Naruto then tried moving. But realized he was moving pretty slow too. So he immediately moved out of the way. He then went to punch the guy and he realized that his arm was covered with orange flames. When he hit, the guy crashed into the wall. The guy looked at Naruto and saw that same boy. But with orange flames surrounding him. Claws. Fangs. Very dark. Thick and defined whisker marks. And a one-tomo Sharingan. After a quick chuckle in defeat, he started losing consciousness. Who would have thought? Said the guy weakly. The Kyuubi brat. An Uchiha. He then proceeded to lose consciousness and Naruto calmed down. He then ran up to the girl his age and noticed her shivering. Don't worry. I came to help, said Naruto. She then exhaled a breath she didn't know she was holding in. Thank you, said Hinata, bowing to Naruto. Naruto smiled to her and said, My name is Naruto Uzumaki. What's yours? Hinata. Hinata Hyuga, said Hinata. It was nice to meet you. Hope I see you again soon, said Naruto. Hinata finally let it sink in that she had been saved, and looked at the boy and gasped at his savior. His deep blue eyes, spiky, blonde hair, and his smile that she adored. She blushed, and looked down at the floor, before timidly saying, I hope so too. Naruto gave her a nod, and ran off. Where are you going? Asked Hinata. My friend is still waiting for me. Gotta go, said Naruto as he started running. Wait. Hinata screamed in the loudest voice that her scared, 4-year-old vocal cord could muster. He turned around with a questioning look and Hinata blushed before saying, You didn't tell me your name. Naruto then smirked and said with a loud, confident voice, My name is Naruto Uzumaki, and I will be the next Hokage. Story end. Extras. When Naruto and Choji approached the house, they were met with a delicious aroma that could be smelled, even though they weren't inside yet. Choji opened the door and they were met with a table covered in food. Extra large noodle bowls, a dumpling pyramid, slivers of steak and a giant cake. Naruto and Choji stared at the food and nearly got knocked senseless. While they tried to maintain balance, Choza came out and showed a sad expression. Damn it. I thought I could have it all to myself, Choza said. Fine. Let's eat. Naruto and Choji then ran to the table and started eating. Naruto started downing noodles. Choji took slivers of steak 3 at a time and shoved them in his mouth. Choza just gobbled up dumplings and Karu didn't even bother cutting the cake. All ending with the 4 lying on the floor, stomachs up and so full their stomachs had a huge arch. I'm gonna like this place, thought Naruto to himself. I bet you if he went serious he could kick everyone in this class's butt. Screamed Ino. Yeah right, he's an idiot with no skill. I bet you he will fill this test a 4th time, said Sakura. Skip some of the story. You know what, fine, he said in a tone that nobody could imagine ever coming from Naruto. My goal was to act weak so I could be placed on the best team. But I'm sick and tired of this treatment. I'm tired of hiding. Naruto then pulled out a small scroll that he soon opened, bit his finger, swiped his bloodied finger across the scroll, and the instant his finger came off the scroll, he was surrounded by smoke. When the smoke lit up they saw Naruto, but he was wearing different clothes, and an aura of strength radiating off of him. More details in the next chapter. He then opened his eyes and said, It's time to show you just how strong I really am. Today seemed like a normal day to most people in Konoha. It was mid-January, and many of the birds migrated to the fire country. So the chirping sounds of birds and swaying of trees were heard, and shops were starting to open. But for Naruto, it was another day of acting. Naruto has a scroll with a special seal of his own design. This seal was for an undetectable transformation jutsu to anyone who signed it with their blood. He is currently transformed into the knuckle-headed idiot that everyone in the class knows and ridicules as Uzumaki Naruto. So he got up and realized that today is the graduation exam. Finally. Today is the last day I need to act as this idiot, Naruto thought to himself. He then walked out of the room and realized that breakfast was already made, and that Inoichi and Mina were waiting for him. I knew you wouldn't take long, said Mina, smiling. Today is the graduation. How do you guys feel? Inoichi said to Ino and Naruto. I'm glad I don't have to act like an idiot after today, said Naruto, looking down and cringing at his orange jumpsuit. You know you didn't have to act like this, right? Said Ino. It's for my future. If I'm dead last, I get assigned with the top rookie and Kunoichi in the class, said Naruto. I don't want a team full amateurs. I know, said Ino. I'm glad I can finally treat Nisan nicely. said Ino. The parents gave them a look of confusion before Naruto explained. I asked Ino to treat me like everyone else to help with my disguise. Same as Shika and Shoji. How could you agree to bullying your brother? Screamed Mina. It took a lot of convincing, said Naruto. After that, they ate breakfast, mostly in peace, until Naruto looked at the clock and he noticed something. Oh crap. We leave in 10 minutes. Naruto screamed. He then dashed around, getting ready, and somehow managed to get to the door before Ino. Bye mom. Bye dad. See you soon, said Naruto, before he left, not even waiting for a response, or Ino. Naruto then walked into class and sat in his normal seat, near Sasuke. He looked around and saw most of the boys socializing, most of the girls either staring at Sasuke or talking about Sasuke, and Hinata alone in the corner. A few minutes later he saw Ino and Sakura trying to squeeze into the doorway, probably in the midst of another one of their competitions. Naruto sighed at the stupidity of this and then noticed Sakura was here and perked up quite a bit. Then before Naruto knew it, Sakura came running to his area and he decided to offer Sakura a seat. Hi Sakura-cha, Naruto said before he was cut off by Sakura pushing Naruto out of the way to get to Sasuke. Hi Sasuke-kun. Sakura screamed along with an Ino hot on her trail. I'm glad this ends tomorrow. Naruto thought to himself as he got up. Okay guys, settle down, Iruka said, right after everyone sat down quietly, not wanting to get on the teacher's bad side today of all days. Today, as you all know, is the graduation exams. What you've been training all these years for. Everyone simply nodded and gave themselves a round of applause. Now on to the instructions, Iruka said. This test will be split up into 4 parts. Chakra-based techniques, taijutsu, shuriken jutsu, and a written test, each embodying what is expected of a genin, and which Naruto is expected to fail in, said Kiba. Just loud enough for his fellow classmates to hear. Everyone started laughing at Naruto, except for Hinata, who was too shy to defend him. The Ino Shikacho kids who were stopping themselves from beating up the entire class due to Naruto's wishes, and Sasuke because he didn't care, can't even make a clone, but expects to become a genin. What an idiot, said a random kid in the class. He's so weak it's hilarious, said another random kid. He's going to be made a fool in front of Sasuke-kun again, said Sakura. And after a bit more laughter, Choji couldn't take it anymore. All of you shut up, screamed Choji, tears falling from his eyes. Make fun of me all you want, but don't you ever make fun of my brother again. Yeah. Don't laugh at my Ni-san. Ino said, standing up and showing a face of pure rage. Sorry Naruto. I just couldn't take it anymore. For once it's not a drag. Leave my bro alone. Shikamaru said in a tone that is the least Shikamaru anyone has ever heard. You guys, Naruto said just under his breath, admiring the scene. His brother and sister defending him, standing up to the class. As this was going on, Hinata was witnessing all of this and was debating in her head whether she should help. Should I help? I want to. But what if everyone makes fun of me after? Or worse, what if Tusama finds out? I know he doesn't like Naruto-kun. She debated to herself. But Naruto-kun saved my life 8 years ago. And it's about time I helped him. Hinata then proceeded to quietly and timidly get up from her seat. And after a bit of hesitation, she screamed, "Leave Naruto-kun alone." It wasn't too loud, but the entire class was flabbergasted. It was obvious she liked Naruto. But this is the first time she talked within Naruto's line of hearing, let alone that loud. Noticing the stares that she was promptly receiving, she sat back down and basically hid behind her desk. Naruto then realized that he was being defended. Even someone he barely knew was trying to protect him. They were possibly giving up their reputation over defending the class loser, someone whom no one liked. And then after about a minute in that train of thought he then snapped. It's damn time I started defending myself. I bet if Naruto was serious he could kick everyone here's butt. Screamed Ino. Yeah right. He's a baka with no skill. I bet he'll fail the graduation exam a 4th time, said Sakura. Everyone stop picking on your classmate. Iruka said. And he was going to continue if not for, it's okay. Iruka-sensei. Naruto said. I got this. He then stepped forward with a confident pose and stood on one of the chairs. All of the people in the class stared at him. And he knew. There was no turning back now. To those of you who were defending me. Ino. Choji. Shikamaru. Hinata. Iruka. I hold only respect for you. But for the rest of you, I'm tired of it, he said as a scowl formed. My goal was to pretend to be weak so I can be paired up with a better team. But I am tired of all of you, Naruto said before he turned his voice quieter but no less menacing. Tired of the treatment. Tired of the solitude. Tired of being called weak and pretending to lose to the weakest Uchiha I ever knew. I'm tired of hiding. Naruto went into his back pouch and took out a small scroll. He untied the knot holding it shut and rolled it open in midair. He then bit his thumb and swiped his bloodied finger across the length of the scroll that appeared to have some sort of seal on it. With a swipe he rolled it shut and jumped off the chair and onto the main staircase. He slammed the scroll on the ground, which created a dent. And he screamed. Permanent transformation release. Smoke appeared all around him. And the class couldn't see him. But a powerful aura was felt. As the smoke started to dim, a silhouette started to form. And a few seconds later, he was visible. This person looked like Naruto. But it's like he's a totally different person. His aura let out power never felt by most of the kids in their life. His demeanor became serious. And intense. But even that was an understatement. His posture was upright and it felt like he was prepared for anything. His eyes shut but it felt like everyone in the class was under his demeaning glance. One that showed superiority. Power. And made the kids feel like ants. Even Sasuke felt like his pride got ran over. Both because of his aura. And being called the weakest Uchiha Naruto ever met. His folded arms were basically taunting them to give it their best shot. But the class was too terrified to try. Even his clothes changed. Rather than the annoying orange jumpsuit, he now wore a white cloak with a hood and the sleeves ripped off. Underneath he wore what seemed to be high-level shinobi battle gear with long-sleeved pants. But his shirt sleeves were promptly ripped off of those too. This showed off his completely ripped shoulders and arms, which were only covered by fingerless gloves on each hand. The girls were staring at him. The guys envied him. Hinata promptly fainted. But only after turning beet red. And Sasuke looked at him with interest. It's not what you think. But undoubtedly. Everyone shared the same confusion. And thought. What in the actual shit is going on right now? He then opened his blue eyes that could make even the bluest of seas metaphorically look at him in envy. Eyes that showed power and resolve. Rather than idiocy and immature eagerness. He then put his arms down to his sides and said in a nearly unrecognizable voice. It's damn time I showed you just how powerful I really am. Story ends. Extras, permanent transformation release. Naruto screamed as smoke immediately poofed into existence. The smoke started to dim and they saw a new, ripped Naruto, that was naked. He was just standing there with his arms crossed. Until he felt the AC on his stomach and areas that it shouldn't be. He then looked down only to find that he isn't wearing clothes. He then seemingly teleported to sit down behind a desk to cover up his private parts. Damn it. I forgot to add my cloak and battle gear to the ceiling formula. Thought Naruto to himself. Looking around, Naruto saw that the guys had a jealous, I just threw up look on their faces. The girls fainted. Hinata flew through the wall like a nosebleed rocket. And Sasuke. When Naruto wasn't looking he caught a glimpse of Naruto's clear throat and let's just say if his pride wasn't shattered before, it is now. Everyone was still staring at Naruto. His muscular physique. His new, matured, eyes and face. And his badass cloak. From Sasuke. To Sakura. To Iruka and every last kid in the class. Nobody could believe that this was the same hopeless, immature prankster they have known for the last 4 years. Is that really Naruto? Sakura thought to herself. Am I being surpassed by him? No, it can't be. Sasuke thought to himself. But keeping his stern, emotionless look on his face. So this is my hero. The one who saved me all those years ago, thought Hinata to herself. It was strange that he was stronger as a 4-year-old than at 12. And the one standing here. He's the one who stole my heart. His deep blue eyes, gorgeous face and power radiating off of him. He's the one who saved me that fateful night. The one I love. After that session of silence, Sakura decided to be the one to break the ice. Naruto Yubaka. A transformation jutsu doesn't make you stronger than my Sasuke-kun, she said, clearly denying the class's recent discovery. You're the same old Naruto. You're right, Sakura. I am the same old Naruto, Naruto said. But it's what you call Naruto that's wrong. Hinata's interest has reached its peak. So she decided to check Naruto's chakra network. And the discovery blew her away. Sakura, you may want to take back what you said about Naruto-kun, said Hinata. And why is that? Asked Sakura. Think of it this way, stated Hinata. Take you, me, Sasuke, Iruka, and the rest of this class's chakra reserves combined and multiply it by about 8. That's how big his is. The whole class looked at her like she was crazy. And someone else was about to speak until, guys, we have a graduation exam to get to. So if you don't want to spend another year at the academy, let's get a move on, said Iruka. After those words everyone sat down pretending that their focus has changed. But they still showed obvious signs of interest on their faces. Okay. Now that you're in your seats, time for the written exam, said Iruka. Then 2 teachers started passing out tests to all of the students in the class, but made obvious looks of confusion when they felt the aura of this new Naruto. Now, this is a 20-minute, 20-question test about what we learned over our time at the academy, said Iruka. Everything from what shoes are best for infiltration to basic math that will be useful on the field. Spend your remaining time studying. The test starts in 12 minutes. Then everyone groaned. Naruto's great revelation has costed the class a reduced study session for the test. So they had to hurry it up. In a rush, Naruto didn't notice that he ended up sitting next to Hinata. So he decided to tell her something he's been holding in. Hinata. Thank you, Naruto said quietly to a now blushing Hinata. Thank you for not following the example of others. Thank you for treating me nicely when you had no reason to do so. Don't thank me, Naruto-kun. You saved me all those years ago, so I have every reason to be nice to you, said Hinata. So yes, I did have a reason to treat you nicely. It's because you're my hero, Naruto-kun. Hinata then realized what she said, so she seemingly teleported over to a corner and curled up into a ball of sheer social anxiety. Naruto then blushed and smiled before he continued doing what little studying he needed. Everyone, the test starts in 2 minutes. Get ready, Iruka said. This was followed by a minute of people putting their studying materials away and then another minute of people staring intently at the clock before they could flip their tests over. 3, 2, 1. You may begin, said Iruka. Then everyone turned their tests over and Naruto was surprised at how easy the test questions are. Questions like, what kind of missions do you take for the first 6 months of being a genin? What is the name of the pill you use to replenish chakra? And, if you have 3 days to make it to a location 2000 km away and you spend a third of the time taking breaks, sleeping, eating, etc., what is the average speed you need to go to make it with the least time to spare? Were present and Naruto didn't even need any tricks to answer them. 5 more minutes, yelled the teacher. Not loud enough to be a scream, but loud enough that even Naruto, Hinata, and the 5 other people in the back could hear clearly. As of that point Naruto just finished his last question. And he seemingly started a chain of test finishers that started with Sasuke, Sakura, Hinata, Shikamaru, some random person and then Shino. This constant stream of people kept coming until the time was up and 2 people complained that they didn't finish on time. Okay. You are now done with the written test, said Iruka. You have 10 minutes to get to the shuriken target field, so no rush. Iruka then shunshined out of the building and the rest of the class decided to take a leisurely stroll. How do you think you did? Asked Naruto to Hinata. The test wasn't too hard, I think at least 90%, said Hinata. What about you? Same, said Naruto. I guess it's about time to show the world my shuriken jutsu. Hinata just nodded in response. Too deep in thought at how she talked to Naruto more today than the entire 4 years at the academy. It was smart what you did, said Hinata. To pretend to be the class clown so you'd get picked with the better team. That was smart. I didn't want the people on my team to hold me back too much. So I thought about how to get the best team. And I came up with this, said Naruto. They then talked a bit longer until 10 minutes were up and the teacher gave instructions on the shuriken jutsu test. Okay. Now comes the shuriken jutsu test, said Iruka. This test shows me how good you are at using shuriken. Your goal is to hit as many targets as possible, in as short a time frame as possible. Iruka then pointed at the 10 targets behind him. Each yellow wood circles with a large black circle in the middle. They were each connected to a different tree, and about 8 to 9 inches in diameter. You will each be handed a shuriken pouch with 28 shuriken in it. Your goal is to hit the targets once each, as fast as possible, said Iruka. Hit the yellow part, you get 3 points. The black part and you get 5 points. Now, there are a few catches. Each second you take subtracts a point. Each shuriken you miss subtracts a point. And if you run out of shuriken you automatically fail. You have to get at least 10 points to pass. Besides that, anything goes. Any questions? After a bit of murmuring along the students. But no questions, the scarred Chunin said. Okay. Let's begin. We've wasted enough time already. Step up when you hear your name. I will only mention the scores of the important characters. Aburame Shino. Shino then stepped up and grabbed 2 shuriken, 1 in each hand. Got in position. And then, go, Iruka said as he started the timer. Shino then threw both his shuriken, one immediately after the other. Grabbed 2 more. Rinse and repeat. When he finally managed to hit all the targets once, Iruka stopped the timer. It revealed 8 seconds. He looked at the landing points of the shuriken to see 2 missed, 9 hit yellow and 1 bullseye. Factoring that all in got Shino 2 points. Well over the 10 points needed to pass. Shino then stepped back to where all the academy students are and waited there for everyone else to finish. For the sake of time I'll just make a list of all the scores in order of last name up until Sasuke Naruto. Ready. Set. Go. Akamichi Choji. 13. 6 points Haruno Sakura. 18. 6 points Hyuga Hinata. 22. 7 points Inuzuka Kiba. 20. 1 points Nara Shikamaru. 16. 5 points after all of them went, as well as a bunch of cannon fodder. It was Sasuke's turn. He got his shuriken pouch ready, looked at the targets, and waited for the signal. Ready, go, said Iruka as he started his stopwatch. Sasuke then quickly grabbed 2 shuriken from his pouch and threw one of them. He then got the second one and hit the thrown shuriken with it, scoring 2 bullseyes. He got 4 more and threw them at the same time, half of them hitting bullseyes and half hitting the yellow. For the last 4, he hit individually, scoring 4 more bullseyes, and Iruka starred in mild shock at the time and results. 0 misses, 2 yellow hits, 8 bullseyes, and achieved in 2 seconds, said Iruka as he racked up the points. 39. 8 points. 9th best score in the graduation exam's history. All of Sasuke's fan club cheered unrelentingly, hurting everyone's ears as Sasuke let out a smirk, content with his score. Hey Dobi. Sasuke let out. Beat that. As Sasuke walked out of the way to let Naruto have his turn, Naruto put on a similar smirk and said, gladly. Naruto stepped up to the area, not even waiting for Iruka to call him. Iruka stood, ready and hand on the stopwatch. Naruto stood with a determined look on his face, and his hand in the pouch ready to launch as soon as he heard go. Ready. Go. Iruka said, immediately pressing the start button. Naruto immediately threw the shuriken at a relatively slow speed and then flashed through 4 hand signs too fast for most to see. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto exclaimed, all the while controlling the location that the shuriken pop up in. 9 more shuriken popped up, and immediately after, hit all the targets at once. landing 10 bullseyes simultaneously. Iruka stopped the timer. A look of 110% shock present on his face, reflecting the only thing running through his mind at that moment. Oh my fucking god! Iruka then finally gained his composure to a reasonably possible extent and just barely said, 0 misses. 0 yellow hits. 10 bullseyes. And in 2 seconds. 48. 8 points. Highest in the graduation exam's history, moving Sasuke's position down to 10th. He said wide-eyed. The reactions of this were pretty varied. Iruka and the 2 other senseis watching looked in shock, fully aware that what Naruto did was perfectly allowed and legit. Just about every boy in the class except Sasuke just looked as if the 3 Sannin just walked into the area. Sasuke had a face of sheer horror and hurt pride. Hinata was doing somersaults and cartwheels in her head. She was so happy, and Sasuke's self-proclaimed fan club. Well, Naruto, you're the dead last. No way you can do that, said random fangirl number 1. No way you beat Sasuke-kun. You're the Dobi. He's number 1, said random fangirl number 2. You must have cheated somehow. It's the shuriken, isn't it? They were just better than Sasuke's, said random fangirl number 3. Wait, he did hand signs. This isn't ninjutsu. Naruto has to restart, said Sakura. This ranting of every screeching fangirl in the whole class lasted for another 3 minutes before the teachers decided they had enough of the meaningless blundering. Guys, can you be quiet so I can answer you complaints? Screamed Iruka, so madly that his head seemed larger than the rest of his body. The girls finally stayed quiet so the teacher could talk. Okay. Now what I was about to say was that what Naruto did was allowed because... Iruka was about to say why, but the girls started screaming in complaint again. This didn't even last 5 seconds before the whole class, especially Naruto and Iruka, let out a shitload of killing intent, causing the girls to start sweating and shaking uncontrollably. But most importantly, shut up. Now what I was going to say, Iruka said, putting a lot of emphasis on going. Shuriken jutsu is trying to hit a target as accurately and quickly as possible with projectiles. Now hearing that, why would jutsu that enhance your shuriken throwing be against the rules? This time, rather than just lash out, Sakura just raised her hand, like a student about to answer a question in class. Not a raving fangirl. Yes, Sakura, Iruka called. I would guess because there is supposed to be a ninjutsu test in a bit that we aren't supposed to use chakra yet, said Sakura. Now, if you would recall my instructions, I specifically said, besides that, anything goes, said Iruka. Most people decide to dismiss it, but if used properly can cause you to do far better. All the students in the class, excluding Naruto, just standing in the corner like a badass, looked at the teacher in interest, mentally begging him to explain. Before you guys came along and changed the top 10 list, there was a previous to 10, and out of them 9th place, 5th place, 3rd place and 1st place all used chakra-based techniques to help them, said Iruka. Now, with that being said, very few actually bother to use techniques that would help them, because they simply don't have the techniques or don't look past the instructions. All the students looked at him, stuck between being content with the answer and feeling that what Naruto was doing isn't correct. But they gave up and just let it be until the exams ended. They called out Ino out and she scores. Okay. Now it's time for the next test, said Iruka. It's time for the taijutsu test. Then all of a sudden, a man appeared. He was around Iruka's height with light brown eyes, light skin and white hair going down to the bottom of his neck. He wore the standard Konoha uniform with a blue, long-sleeve shirt that was partially covered by a Konoha Chunin flak jacket. He wore long blue pants that were bandaged around the bottom, and he wore his forehead protector as a bandana that covered the whole top of his head. This was Mizuki, one of the various Chunin instructors at the academy. Mizuki will be the one you will face for this test, said Iruka. To this Naruto let out a maniacal grin, finally having an excuse to beat the shit out of his least favorite teacher. Mizuki will be the one you face for the test, said Iruka. At this, Naruto let out a maniacal grin, finally having an excuse to beat the shit out of his least favorite student. while Naruto was thinking about what he would do to Mizuki. Iruka explained rules like no weapons. He decides when the match is over. Mizuki would be going easy, etc. The class nodded in understanding and walked towards the training fields for the spar. They were right next to it though, so it wasn't a long walk. Not even a minute later. Everyone got on the training court and awaited their turn to go. Mizuki waited for his first student to come up. And Iruka stood there, holding his clipboard. Like last time. I will only mention the important people. May Aburame Shino please enter the ring, said Iruka. In response, Shino calmly walked onto the training court and stood in a fighting stance, awaiting the scarred Chunin to start the match. Ready, begin, Iruka said. Mizuki was the one who started, launching a weak punch at Shino. Shino then appeared to block with his left arm but actually pushed Mizuki's arm out of the way and landed a solid right hook to his face. Or at least solid to an academy student. Shino then tried to land a sweep kick that Mizuki backflipped over. Then came an exchange of fists that ended in a punch to the stomach by Shino, flowing smoothly to a weak uppercut to Mizuki's jaw. Okay. That's enough. Shino. You pass, Iruka said in a monotone voice. Next up. Akamichi Choji. May you please step up to the training field. Choji walked up to the training court and stood in his fighting stance. Ready to go. Ready. Begin, Iruka said. This fight wasn't an immediate start. In fact, they waited almost a minute after before Choji started. He launched his right fist towards Mizuki, who managed to block it. Mizuki then aimed a right cross at Choji's face, but Choji blocked it with both of his arms. Mizuki saw the wide opening and aimed a roundhouse kick at Choji's back. Choji was expecting this, however, and wrapped his arms around Mizuki's leg, catching it as some sort of headlock. After about 3 to 4 seconds of struggle, Choji started spinning, all while holding Mizuki's leg. This went on until Mizuki fell and rolled away from Choji on the floor. Okay. That's enough. Choji. You pass, said Iruka. Next up. Haruno Sakura. Sakura then walked onto the training field, staring intently at Mizuki, mentally preparing herself for this fight. Maybe Sasuke-kun will go out with me if I impress him enough. Internal Sakura said, hearts in her eyes. Ready. Begin, Iruka said, starting the match. Sakura then rushed over to Mizuki and jumped at him in an attempt to punch him. This was responded with Mizuki leaning out of the way. As soon as she landed, she turned around and tried to kick Mizuki, to which Mizuki blocked the kick. While Sakura was vulnerable, Mizuki attempted to punch Sakura, but this was responded with Sakura clumsily jumping backwards out of the way. For the next while, this kind of exchange ensued, Mizuki mostly dodging and blocking until Sakura had to defend. This lasted longer than any of the fights thus far, but nobody got knocked down. Eventually though, Sakura showed signs of exhaustion due to her low stamina and chakra reserves and started breathing hard. Have I not shown enough? I've lasted this long, Sakura said, looking at Iruka. I guess I'll have to finish it while I have enough energy to do so. Sakura then pumped some chakra into her muscles and jumped forward quickly. When she was right in front of Mizuki, she crouched down and landed a sweep kick at Mizuki. This didn't knock him down, but it kept him off balance just long enough to land a solid blow in Mizuki's face, just barely able to knock him over. Okay, that's enough. Sakura. You pass, Iruka said. Hyuga Hinata. May you please step onto the fighting ring. Hinata timidly nodded her head and slowly walked onto the training course, slightly sweating due to the nervousness, despite knowing that the teacher won't hurt her. Am I good enough for this? She thought, looking at Mizuki's serious, almost intimidating demeanor. Should I give up? Am I not meant to be a genin? Hinata thought to herself. And most definitely not being incognito about it either. Her face showed every last bit of doubt and nervousness she was internally feeling. Naruto saw it and decided to do something about this. Hinata. Naruto called out to her, his eyes showing warmth and comfort in them and a smirk present on his face. Hinata looked in his direction. Her troubled look eased slightly, but not completely. She leaned her head to the side and had a questioning look on her face. Do your best, okay? You got this, Naruto said, giving her a warm smile and a thumbs up. Hinata's facial expression immediately changed, taking a shocked expression until it morphed into one of determination. Hi. Hinata said in understanding, getting into the gentle fist stance and activated her Byakugan. This is new, thought Mizuki. Ready? Begin, said Iruka. Hinata immediately ran forward, not wanting to waste too much chakra on her Byakugan before the ninjutsu test begins. And knowing full well Mizuki won't attempt to land first blow against someone with the gentle fist martial art, she launched a palm at Mizuki's abdomen, which was just barely avoided by Mizuki. Mizuki then attempted a kick at Hinata's face, only for her to duck from the strike. Hinata didn't waste any time afterwards. As soon as she got in position, she struck a chakra point on the right side of his hip, causing him to limp as he tried to move away. Hinata then attempted to strike a couple more chakra points on Mizuki's body. But every time she tried, Mizuki just slapped her hand to the side. This came to an end however when Hinata struck a major chakra point on Mizuki's right shoulder, effectively weakening Mizuki's right arm. With Mizuki's right arm and leg weakened, it left the entirety of Mizuki's right side relatively open. She seized the opportunity and landed a gentle fist strike at the right side of Mizuki's stomach, giving Iruka enough to say that she passed. Okay, that's enough. Hinata. You passed, said Iruka. Hinata suddenly let out a breath she didn't even know she was holding and a look of relief glossed over her facial features. This then ended up turning into a smile before she said, "Hi." She released all of the chakra points she struck on Mizuki before getting back up. With that match over with, Hinata walked over to the sidelines, and right next to Naruto at that. Naruto watched Hinata as she came back, striding in her happy and confident mood as she let out a beautiful smile. Her posture wasn't slouched, her fingers weren't fidgeting, and she wasn't looking down. And when she got to the sidelines, she looked at Naruto straight in the eye as she said, "Thank you, Naruto-kun." This new, happy, relatively confident persona of Hinata was new, to say the least, and secretly, he liked it a lot. Naruto blushed a little bit at this, and said, "And no problem. Hinata-chan." Hinata-chan, Hinata thought to herself in response, almost letting out a tear at the honorific. Overwhelmed since this one word is more progress than she made in almost 8 years. She then had to temporarily put those thoughts to the side, since now is about the worst time to faint. She managed to quickly nod before turning to face a direction in which Naruto couldn't see her face. Once in said position, Hinata gave way to a blush that encompassed her entire face, unknown to a Naruto who still had a light blush on his. Next up, Inuzuka Kiba. May you please step onto the fighting ring, Iruka said. The Inuzuka let out a toothy grin as he jumped onto the battlefield. As soon as he got there, he put his puppy on the ground, and it snarled, signaling that it was ready for battle. Ready? Begin, Iruka said. Inuzuka Kiba, being the brash and restless one that he is, just jumped into action with his puppy. Kiba punched Mizuki, only for Mizuki to smoothly dodge out of the way. This was punished however by Kiba's puppy, Akamaru, biting his leg. Mizuki frantically tried to get Akamaru off his leg, but his lack of focus was punished by a punch in the face by Kiba. Little did Kiba know that Mizuki actually braced for the punch, so he didn't get knocked over, much to Kiba's dismay. Also the shock from the punch made Akamaru let go. Seeing that he had his mobility back, Mizuki noted that from that point on, he had to keep track of both the human and the dog. This made combined attacks just about useless, which made the fight last far longer than it reasonably should. Almost 2 minutes later, Kiba and Akamaru were panting, the man far more than the dog. Kiba had to put up an all-out assault in the attempt to get the teacher distracted enough for Akamaru to strike. But this didn't lead to anything. So instead he changed strategies. When they finished panting, both Kiba and Akamaru ran straight towards Mizuki and attacked together, hoping to overwhelm Mizuki to the point that one of them could land a substantial blow. This ended up working in the first 10 seconds as Kiba landed a jab at Mizuki's jaw, which then transitioned to a knee to the gut. which Akamaru took advantage of to bite Mizuki's heel. Iruka, feeling that he's seen just about enough, said, "Okay. That's enough. Inuzuka Kiba, you pass." Iruka said. Kiba let out a grin to that, and walked towards the sidelines, where he stood to see the rest of the matches. Before Iruka announced the next match, he walked onto the training court and hovered his hand just over the wound in Mizuki's ankle. From Iruka's hand, green chakra was released, slowly healing the puncture wounds in Mizuki's ankle. He then did the same thing for the wound on Mizuki's left calf, and then he left to the sidelines. "Okay. Now, will Shikamaru Nara please come onto the fighting ring?" Iruka said. Originally, the lazy Nara thought maybe to just say, "No thank you." But then he realized what his mom would do to him when she finds out. So he walked onto the field, and put up a lazy fighting stacks. "This fight is the worst out of all the 9, so I'll skip it in order to get to the juicy fights. Just imagine it how it would be like in canon. Except for slightly more physical training because Naruto is around during some of the father-son training sessions." Shikamaru just finished the match after over 6 minutes. The fight wasn't exciting to say the least. In fact, people were split between thinking that Shikamaru did the bare minimum to pass, to thinking that he didn't even really deserve it. But rules are rules. And Iruka said that he passes, so he does. But the next match is expected to make up for the monstrosity of the last match. Next up, Uchiha Sasuke. "May you please come onto the fighting stage?" said Iruka. At the mere mention that it was his turn, just about every female in the class were squealing and cheering Sasuke good luck. But Sasuke ignored them as he walked onto the fighting stage. The Uchiha stared intently at Mizuki for a few seconds before entering the fighting stance of the Uchiha clan's interceptor fist. This led to Mizuki entering his own fighting stance, staring at Sasuke. They remained like this, awaiting the beginning of the match, which came soon. "Ready. Begin," said Iruka. Sasuke was the first to go, running at Mizuki with silent steps. Mizuki was expecting a punch, so he blocked, putting his arms in an X position in front of his face. But to Mizuki's surprise, Sasuke didn't go for a punch. Instead, he stopped himself at the last second and launched a kick at him, placed specially to where his foot bypassed Mizuki's block and hit him in the chin. From then on, Mizuki decided that he may have to go a bit harder on Sasuke, and it turned into an epic match. In the perspective of all the fangirls, of course. With Mizuki seemingly reeling from the kick, Sasuke tried another punch only for it to be caught by Mizuki. With a smirk, Mizuki tried to punch Sasuke, only for Sasuke to lean out of the way, making the fist smoothly move past his head. Then Sasuke dropped to the ground and attempted a sweep kick, which Mizuki easily jumped over. But Sasuke was expecting this. So before Mizuki made it to the ground, Sasuke got up and jabbed at Mizuki's stomach, landing a solid blow. Mizuki, having braced for it, didn't get the wind knocked out of him like Sasuke would have expected. And when he landed a blow on Sasuke's unguarded chest. With both Sasuke and Mizuki about 2 meters away from each other, they went back into a fighting stance, awaiting some opening. "Okay, that's enough," said Iruka. "Sasuke, you pass." This predictably led to the squealing and cheering of about a third of the class and many people glad they won't be attending the academy next year. "Okay. May Uzumaki Naruto please step onto the fighting stage," Iruka said. Naruto let out a smile that had the resemblance of a sadistic grin and walked onto the fighting stage, ignoring all the boos that most of the class let out. When Naruto got there, he paused for a second and looked at Hinata one final time before getting into a fighting stance. Mizuki did the same, but let out a smirk, feeling that this would be easy. "Ready? Begin," Iruka said. Mizuki immediately launched himself at Naruto and aimed a punch, to which Naruto just pushed Mizuki's arm aside. Then Mizuki kicked Naruto, to which Naruto simply caught his foot and pushed him back. Even that soon into the fight, the fact that Naruto wore a cloak while he fought got on his nerves. "Time out," Mizuki said. "Naruto, take off your cloak. It's getting on my nerves." "Oh. Yeah. I guess it's a bit hard to fight with it in the way." Naruto said with an underlying tone of mischief. So after he said that, Naruto then took the cloak off of himself, folded it neatly into a square and set it down in the middle of the battlefield. Mizuki thought this was another one of Naruto's ways to piss Mizuki off, so he didn't even try to ask Naruto to move it. "Kiba, may you please move the cloak off of the battlefield?" Mizuki said. Hi. Kiba said in a non-caring tone as he walked onto the battlefield to pick up the cloak. And he failed. Kiba was surprised it didn't budge easily like how a cloak was supposed to. So he tried again, and failed. So he repositioned himself into a heavy lifting stance and grabbed the cloak with both arms and lifted. But this time, even as sweat started to fall from Kiba's forehead, only the side of the cloak he was lifting came up. And only an inch above the ground. "Sasuke, come here. There's something up with this cloak," Kiba said. "What? It's just a cloak. How hard can it be?" said Sasuke. "Just come and help me," said Kiba. "Okay. Fine," said Sasuke in annoyance as he walked to the cloak. He budged Kiba to the side a little as he grabbed the cloak. And lifted. And it just barely went up. "You're right," Sasuke said. "Kiba, let's do this together." "Right," Kiba said. The rest of the class looked at them dumbfoundedly. It was a cloak. And two people had trouble lifting it. Kiba and Sasuke each took a side of the square that the cloak was folded into. And started lifting. With their combined effort it came off the ground and they slowly walked over to the sidelines, leaving a trail of sweat in their wake. When they got there, Kiba's and Sasuke's hands slipped and it fell from about 4 feet up, leaving a mini crater where it fell. There was a varied reaction amongst the class. Most of the class looked in surprise. Sasuke and Kiba were too busy trying to catch their breath to give a reaction. Hinata had a look of admiration on top of her surprise and the Ino Shikacho kids were smirking. But above all else, Mizuki was scared. After basking in their reactions, Naruto put his hands in the ram seal and said, "Kai." When that happened, a small burst of chakra appeared from each of Naruto's joints, signaling one thing to the two Chunin watching. A resistance seal. "Oh Ruka. Just wondering. Can you restart the match? That 70 kilo, 154 lb. weight on top of the resistance seals kind of made it hard to move," said Naruto with a sheepish grin while scratching the back of his head. Ruka only nodded, not trusting his mouth at the moment, and restarted the timer. When Aruka's voice came back he put his hand up and said, "Ready? Begin." An instant after Aruka said go, Naruto was already at Mizuki's position. Mizuki doubled over in pain due to Naruto's hand being acquainted with Mizuki's gut. Not even a second later, he removed his hand from Mizuki's stomach and sent an axe kick onto Mizuki's back, causing a crater in the dirt ground even bigger than the one his cloak left. "I'm not the one you threw textbooks at, Mizuki. And it was long past the time I got my revenge," said Naruto, his arms folded and looking away from Mizuki. His demeanor serious and slightly sad as he recounted the constant bombarding Mizuki gave him during sparring drills and the textbooks Mizuki threw at him when he fell to sleep in class. Then he did a 180 both literally and figuratively as his face took a more positive and cheerful look as he looked at Iruka, enjoying the shocked look on his face. "So, how did I do?" Naruto said. "Hospitalized a counselor in 1.8 seconds. I believe this makes you the new record holder for both the Shuriken Jutsu and Taijutsu tests," Iruka said. "In other words, you pass." Naruto smiled at this before resetting his resistance seals and casually placing his 70-kilo cloak back on. After doing that, he walked back to the sidelines next to Hinata, where he stood there, partially oblivious to the fact that he just incapacitated the sparring partner and damaged the fighting arena. Meanwhile, all the kids, and Iruka, were dumbfounded by what they saw. Naruto, the dead last of the class, hospitalizing a Chunin and casually picking up what took both Sasuke and Kiba to lift off of the ground. But Naruto was ignoring the stares, and began talking to Hinata. "So Hinata, enjoy the match?" Naruto asked, blushing slightly due to the wide-eyed stare that Hinata was giving him. For an answer, Hinata just nodded in response, still too dumbfounded to actually speak coherent words. "Okay. I'll be the opponent for the last contender, said Iruka. May Ino Yamanaka please step onto the fighting ring? Hi. Ino said with a nod of her head as she walked calmly onto the fighting ring. She then got into her fighting stance, followed soon after by Iruka doing the same. Ready, go, Iruka said right before he rushed at Ino. Ino mirrored his movements, and the fight officially began. It started with Ino and Iruka bashing forearm to forearm. Despite Iruka not really trying, he weighed a lot more, so Ino got pushed back, but didn't slip. After holding it for a bit, Ino spun out of the way, causing Iruka to stumble forward. Ino took advantage of this and landed an axe kick on Iruka's back. This wasn't enough however, as Iruka managed to catch himself with one of his legs before he fully fell over. This ticked Ino off a bit, feeling that she should have gotten that, but that didn't distract her from dodging a fist barreling towards her face. Then came another punch which actually managed to graze her cheek. This started almost 30 seconds of Ino on the defensive, until Iruka screwed up enough for Ino to kick him in the abdomen. Ino then fluidly twirled into a sweep kick which knocked Iruka over, and then Ino placed her knee on Iruka, weighing him down. Okay Ino, you pass, Iruka said. Ino brought her knee up, and that was everyone. Iruka got up from the ground and brushed some dirt off of him before saying, I need to take care of getting Mizuki to the hospital, said Iruka. So you guys have 45 minutes to get over to the forest arena for the ninjutsu test. Do whatever you like in the meantime. Hokage's office. In the Hokage's office, we see an old, gray-haired man taking a whiff of his pipe and looking at the graduation exams through his crystal ball. This was the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, looking into the Genin graduation exam after sensing Naruto's vast chakra reserves coming from the academy. The aged Hokage smirked as he watched all of the surprised faces of Naruto's fellow students as he displayed his abilities. This was seriously entertaining to watch, to say the least. And his blushing at Hinata. He finally let it out for the world to see, huh? And during the graduation exam too, thought the Sarutobi. He is truly something, beating me in both Shuriken Jutsu and Taijutsu. Speaking of which, you probably deserved that, Mizuki. Hiruzen let out a small smirk, barely able to hide how proud he was of Naruto right now. I should treat him to ramen today. He deserves it, thought Hiruzen. Ninja Academy. In the Ninja Academy, Naruto, Hinata, Ino, Shikamaru and Choji are sitting together in front of the forest, having a light-hearted conversation to pass the time. So Naruto, 4 years of disguise and humiliation to appear weak, and you blow it on the last day. What a drag, said Shikamaru. Shut up. You couldn't keep it up for a week, said Naruto. It would be too much of a drag now, would it? Yup. Sounds about right, said Ino, letting out a toothy grin that looks like a cheaper version of Naruto's. You even dragged us into this, said Choji. Then his face turned into a grin before saying, but the reaction of everyone was priceless. Yeah, Hinata said quietly. They are still looking at you, Naruto-kun. Naruto raised an eyebrow before looking behind him, seeing that Hinata was, in fact, right. Everyone was still looking at him, some in slight terror, some in astonishment, some in slight admiration, some trying to size him up. And then there's Sasuke, miserably failing to look like he doesn't care. And he enjoyed every last one. Yeah, I guess so, said Naruto. I guess it's not every day you see an academy graduate who can beat a Jonin. It may have seemed egotistical, but he felt like he deserved it after such a long period of hiding. The Ino Shikacho kids nodded in response, but Hinata was actually surprised. Naruto, would you really go that far? Said Hinata. Ino answered that one. Actually yeah, said Ino. Before he turned 7 actually. Hinata looked at Ino disbelieving. Yeah. Sad story actually, said Naruto with a sad smile. It was my 7th birthday in 3 months from then. And some ninja was sent to kill me. Later clarified to be a missing nin from Sanagakure. It was weird too, said Choji. When I heard the scream of an adult, I went in there and saw Naruto with fire surrounding him, and red eyes. Suddenly flashbacks of Naruto saving her in that alleyway came up. The orange flames. The stab wounds. And just about anything she could have seen looking at Naruto's back. Then it took a more positive note. Seeing his face for the first time. His blue eyes. His confident smile. And asking for his name a second time as an excuse to see him more. Hinata let a blush at that. Much to everyone's bewilderment. But then Ino changed the conversation topic. So, Naruto. Hinata. Do you guys like each other or something? Asked Ino. Don't think I missed those blushes earlier. So what's up? Ino was mainly teasing Naruto with this. It was fairly obvious the shy Hyuga took a liking to the bold Uzumaki. But the slightest feeling of the other way around was quite different. Did she just ask Naruto-kun if he likes me? Did she say he blush at me? Thought Hinata, taking Ino's words to heart. No. Not at all. Naruto blatantly said. She is pretty. But that doesn't mean I like her that much. But alas. I guess it's not wait. Did he call me pretty? Hinata thought to herself. Originally depressed but doing mental somersaults in her head by the end of it. Her face was burning a deep shade of red as she thought about what Naruto said. Which didn't go unnoticed by Naruto. Just not in the way you'd expect. Huh? Hinata. Your face is turning red. Said Naruto. Are you coming down with something? Maybe today wasn't the best day for the test? Ino. Shikamaru. And Choji sweat dropped from that as they thought in unison. First to finish the written test. Has the Sharingan to read a person's body language and enough of a tactical mind to take on my dad. But can't figure out Hinata has a crush on him. What a pain. No Naruto, I'm fine. Really? Hinata said as the blush started to subside. Poof, a large poof of smoke suddenly popped into existence, and when it subsided, Iruka stood there. With a neutral expression on his face. Everyone. We are at the area where we will perform our ninjutsu test. Iruka said. And since Mizuki is now in good hands. Let's not waste any more time. The rules are simple. This is a test where you will show your aptitude for ninjutsu and genjutsu. Said Iruka. The pointing system is also simple. You will demonstrate ninjutsu and genjutsu. Genjutsu release. Transformation and the clone jutsu are each 1 point. However, you need 6 points to pass. So if you make more than 3 clones, we will consider it 2 points instead of 1. And the rest of them you need to earn by displaying your own jutsus. Any questions? There were none. So Iruka decided to get started. Again, relevant characters only. Aburame Shino. May you please demonstrate your jutsus? Iruka said. Shino simply nodded before walking right in front of the Iruka and prepared for a jutsu. Henge. Shino said before a cloud of smoke enveloped him. Showing Iruka himself right there. Perfect besides a nose scare a bit too small. Then Shino put his hands in a different sign before saying. Bunshin no jutsu. More smoke enveloped the area before we saw 5 Irukas standing there. Shino then dispelled them and turned back into himself in time to prepare for the genjutsu test. Slowly, Shino's world started spinning. People started looking distorted. And his depth perception started getting weird. And Shino knew exactly what this was. Genjutsu. So in order to respond to this, Shino put his hands in the ram sign and said, Kai. With that, Shino's sight returned to normal. As if the whole genjutsu never happened. Okay. That's 4 points. You have 2 more points to get, Iruka said. Again. Shino nodded in response and made 7 hand signs before. A log appeared in his place. Instead he was found next to a tree some 50-something feet away from Iruka. Okay Shino. You have 1 more point to get. Unless you would like to try performing the substitution in under 6 hand signs. In which you would get 2 points for. Said Iruka. No. I have 1 more jutsu. Said Shino. He then pointed his hand out and Kikai bugs came out. And surrounded a nearby training dummy. Beetle sphere. Shino said as his bugs attached themselves to the dummy. You can't see this now. But the bugs would be sucking out an opponent's chakra as of now. Okay. Very impressive. Said Iruka. Anything else? No sensei. Said Shino. Well then. With D-rank genjutsu expulsion. 4 clones. Transformation. 8 hand sign substitution. And the Aburame style. Beetle sphere. Shino passes with 6 points, said Iruka. Next up, Choji Akamichi. I'm going to list out the points and jutsus for the rest. Up until Naruto and Sasuke. Choji Akamichi. D rank Genjutsu expulsion. 2 clones. Transformation. 9 hand sign substitution. Akamichi style. Expansion jutsu. Akamichi style. Human bullet tank. 6 points Sakura Haruno. C rank Genjutsu expulsion. 2 clones. Transformation. 7 hand sign substitution. Genjutsu art. Visible distort. 6 points Hinata Hyuga. D rank Genjutsu expulsion. 3 clones. Transformation. 5 hand sign substitution. Byakugan. 8 trigrams. 16 palms. 7 points Kiba Inuzuka. D rank Genjutsu expulsion. 3 clones. Transformation. 8 hand sign substitution. Inuzuka art. All 4s jutsu. Ninpo. Nose of the Ninhound. 6 points Shikamaru Nara. C rank Genjutsu expulsion. 2 clones. Transformation. 8 hand sign substitution. Nara art. Shadow possession jutsu. 8 meter past shadow. 6 points. Sasuke Uchiha. Asked to go second to last. Naruto Uzumaki. Asked to go last. Ino Yamanaka. D rank Genjutsu expulsion. 2 clones. Transformation. 8 hand sign substitution. Yamanaka art. Mind transfer jutsu. Genjutsu art. Hormonal uprise. 6 points now that everyone else did their techniques. The last 2 are going to go. Uchiha Sasuke. May you please demonstrate your jutsus? Said Iruka. Hi. Sasuke said. Fully prepared due to the fact that he recovered from lifting 35 kilo just earlier. Immediately, Iruka cast a D-rank genjutsu on Sasuke, which Sasuke broke with ease. Seeing this, Iruka cast a C-rank genjutsu on him, which Sasuke struggled with for a bit before breaking. Iruka listed this as C-rank genjutsu release. Then Sasuke made the transformation jutsu hand sign and turned into Iruka. Perfect down to the last detail. Soon after, he got into the Bunshin no Jutsu hand sign and molded his chakra, causing a large poof of smoke. When the smoke dissipated, 9 Irukas stood there for a few seconds. When those seconds ended, Sasuke dissipated his jutsu, turning from 9 Irukas to 1 Sasuke. He then made 3 hand signs before a log appeared in his place, startling everyone. 3 hand signs, huh? Thought Iruka. Impressive. Sasuke then did a substitution with the log he substituted with to avoid walking and stood still for a while. When he stopped standing still he then flashed through the hand signs. Horse, tiger, serpent, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger in under 3 seconds and made some sort of nozzle with his hand over his mouth. He took a deep breath in and then, Kaden. Fireball jutsu. All of a sudden, a fireball slightly taller than Sasuke got launched at a nearby tree, turning the side that it his into charcoal. Sensei. I'm done, said Sasuke as he started walking towards the sidelines, ignoring the screaming fangirls and putting his hands in his pockets. With C-rank genjutsu expulsion. The transformation jutsu. 9 clones. 3 hand sign substitution and Kaden. Fireball jutsu. You score 9 points, putting yourself at the top 2% in history for chakra-based techniques for the graduation exam, said Iruka. The fangirls were screaming with joy at this, saying things like, "That's my Sasuke," and "I always believed in you." Okay, will you guys calm down already? Iruka screamed at girls again, so loud that his head grew bigger than the rest of his body. But this didn't deter the fangirls at all, so Naruto had to take extreme measures. He released a wave of killing intent at the fangirls, effectively shutting them up. But Naruto was far too annoyed with them, so he increased the killing intent, causing the group to shake uncontrollably and collapse due to weak knees. With them unconscious, Naruto let out a satisfied smirk. The rest of the class would have done so as well if it weren't due to the fear of a man who knocked out 12 girls without even touching them. "Oh okay," Iruka said. Naruto Uzumaki. You requested to go last. So now it's your turn. May you please demonstrate your ninjutsu? Okay sensei. Naruto said. Just be glad I knocked out the fangirls. We'd go deaf listening to their complaining after I get first place. Everyone gave Naruto a skeptical look. Except Hinata, Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji. As Naruto walked in front of the forest and got ready for the test. When he got on the field, he saw Iruka prepare a D-rank genjutsu. So he stopped him. Iruka-sensei, said Naruto, causing Iruka to stop. Try a B rank on me. You'll be surprised. You sure? Iruka asked. Yeah, said Naruto, all the while hiding his Sharingan behind a subtle genjutsu. Okay, said Iruka as he went through 11 hand signs. Genjutsu art. Tree binding illusion. All of a sudden, Iruka slowly disappeared from Naruto's sight, which wasn't a surprise to Naruto. Then, a sprout came out from the ground, which quickly grew into a tree right behind Naruto's back. Then, appendages came out from the tree which fastened Naruto to the tree. But Naruto still made no move to struggle. Then came the last part, where Iruka's upper body sprouted from the tree right above Naruto, holding a kunai which he placed at Naruto's neck. Can you escape this, Naruto? Asked Iruka from above him. Naruto answered this not with words, but action. Iruka suddenly felt different. He wasn't holding a kunai at Naruto's throat anymore, but his arms were at his sides. He tried moving his arms, but he couldn't. Looking down, he saw himself held by a tree with branches wrapping around his being. He then looked straight to see Naruto with a cocky smirk on his face and a look of pride in his ocean blue eyes. Genjutsu reversal, Naruto said. Okay Naruto. May you please let me go so I can document this? Said Iruka. Sure, Naruto said. Just then, the tree dissipated behind Iruka and he recorded this with a look of slight shock on his face. This didn't go unnoticed by the class. But while they didn't see the tree, they knew Naruto was under a genjutsu that kept him still. And suddenly Iruka fell under that same genjutsu after Naruto escaped, claiming he did a genjutsu reversal. After Iruka documented that, Naruto made a single hand sign. And then he was a log. Iruka and the rest of the class started looking around until they saw Naruto sitting on the branch of a tree, baffling everybody. One hand seal substitution. Impressive, Iruka said, documenting it as a B-rank jutsu because it was under 2 hand signs. After that, Naruto switched back to his earlier position with the log, and made a hand sign, one that none of the students have ever seen. It resembled the ox seal more than anything, but was closer to a plus sign made by the pointer and middle fingers of both his hands. Shadow clone jutsu, Naruto said as puffs of smoke surrounded Iruka. When the smoke dissipated, Iruka saw that he was surrounded by 14 Narutos. Yeah. High five Iruka-sensei, Naruto said as he ran up to him. Iruka put up his hand uncaringly, expecting a prank like his hand passing through the clones. So it came to him as a surprise when the hand connected. Huh. I see you're not as much of a prankster anymore, said Iruka. To which Naruto just tilted his head to the side in confusion. What I mean is that I thought you would use one of the clones so that my hand would just pass through yours. What are you talking about? Naruto said as he took a kunai out. I am a clone. To prove his point, Naruto just stabbed his wrist with the kunai, making him dispel Iruka, and all of the students, again, despite the obvious 3, looked at him wide-eyed, never seeing a solid clone before. Is that what I think it is? Asked Iruka, rubbing his eyes. Yup. Multi-shadow clones. Cool huh? Said Naruto. And now the real party starts. Story ends extras. This was Naruto's second option for stopping the fangirls. Okay, will you guys calm down already? Iruka screamed at girls again, so loud that his head grew bigger than the rest of his body. But this didn't deter the fangirls at all. So Naruto had to take extreme measures. Pheromone suppressor release, said Naruto after making a few hand signs. Suddenly the girls started calming down and looking at Naruto. Naruto, what did you do? Asked Iruka. Can you come a bit closer? It has to do with my tenant, said Naruto. Okay, said Iruka as he walked closer, and put his ear near Naruto's mouth, signaling him to say, okay. Do you know how all mammals give off pheromones that attract the opposite sex, right? Said Naruto. To which Iruka simply nodded. Well, think of the Kyuubi. He's a gigantic, all-powerful fox and gives off a lot of pheromones. So I had to develop a way to suppress these pheromones in order to not get tons of attention wherever I go. So that means that now, started Iruka. Yeah, said Naruto. In the Inuzuka compound, Hana was currently in bed, resting before the inevitable celebration for Kiba's graduation when her super-powered nose caught a whiff of something. And whatever it was attractive, to say the least. She sniffed the air once more, taking in the amazing aroma, and then got out of bed to pounce on whatever is making that enticing smell. Back at the academy, the girl's eyes started to gain a glint in them as the smell became more and more potent. So fearing something may happen, he was about to form the hand signs to reapply the jutsu. But then he realized that he couldn't move his arms, and that he was on the ground. Looking up, he saw none other than Kiba's sister on top of him, keeping his arms on the ground, and a feral grin on her face. Hana, what are you doing here? Asked Kiba. To which Hana ignored. Not so slowly, more and more women including Yugo, Sume, Enko and seemingly every teenage girl in Konoha started entering academy grounds, with glints in their eyes. And soon enough, everybody knew what was about to go down. Naruto. It's too much. Turn it off. Screamed Iruka, panicking at what may happen to Naruto's, and maybe the other kids a little, after this. It requires hand signs, which as you can see, I can't do right now, he said, looking up at Hana to show this. So, what you're saying is, Iruka started. Yeah, said Naruto simply, with a horrified look in his eye. Is that what I think it is? Asked Iruka, rubbing his eyes. Yup, multi-shadow clones. Cool huh? Said Naruto. And now the real party starts. Real party? Asked Iruka, mind boggled. At 16 points. You've displayed enough ninjutsu to tie with 10th place. And now you say you're gonna be serious? Yeah. Did I stutter? Asked Naruto genuinely. No. But if you are serious, you may begin, said Iruka, tempted to see what will happen. Naruto simply nodded at this before he ran through 8 hand signs in under 3 seconds, ending with the dog seal, before slamming both his hands on the ground. Doden. Twin Mud Dragons Jutsu. Naruto said. Directly after, 2 serpentine-style mud dragons, with red eyes somehow, rose from the ground, looking at the forest. He then ran through hand signs. Ram, horse, dragon, ox and tiger before saying, Kaden. Dragon flame bomb. Soon enough, the dragons' mouths opened and built up fire, only to launch in a series of powerful fireballs. While the fireballs were still in the air, 2 clones came up from behind Naruto and stood next to him, forming 5 hand signs in rapid succession before saying, Fuuden. Great breakthrough. It didn't even take a second before massive gusts of wind came out of both of the clones' mouths and headed straight towards the continuously launching fireballs, making the fireballs larger and faster moving. This went on for at least 30 seconds. Massive fireballs launching against dozens of trees, lighting them on fire. Iruka was starting to panic, seeing as to how Naruto was doing nothing about the burning section of the forest. Naruto. Do I need to call the fire corps? Asked Iruka. Nah. I'll take care of that now, said Naruto. As he said that, 4 more Narutos stood in the row. Now we see 7 Narutos standing side by side of each other with approximately 3 feet of space between one another. Standing still, channeling chakra throughout his body. And then he began. All of the Narutos made identical hand signs, at the exact same time, at a rate of about 1 every 8 seconds. And after 10 seconds, he didn't stop. Concerning everyone, the fire was spreading slightly every second. So the longer it took, the less likely Naruto was to be able to put it out. 20 seconds passed, still nothing. Naruto was still making hand signs, and the students were starting to panic. It wasn't even 7 seconds later when the Narutos made their last hand sign and slammed their right palms into the ground. Sweeten. Tidal lock. Naruto said. Then, with no other warning, water started pouring out of the ground towards the trees. And not a little bit either. Tens of thousands of gallons came rushing at the fire like a rapid, diluting the fire. But not without a lot of steam. But this is what Naruto planned. When the steam was at its climax, Naruto made 4 hand signs before saying, Raiden. Electromagnetic murder. Soon, a stream of electricity moved towards the steam. And due to the fact that steam is made of water, it was conducted through the steam, causing a large pulse of pure electricity to show. Everyone looked at what just occurred in silence, except the fangirls who were knocked out, not believing their eyes. Oh, okay. And Naruto, said Iruka waveringly, trying his best to seem professional about this. You have 44 points. Do you have any more to show us? I mean, I could show you guys 40 more. But I'll leave it at 2, said Naruto, much to everyone's further amazement. Naruto then took out a scroll and opened it, revealing it was completely blank, and set it on the ground in front of him. He then took out a brush and some ink, and set that on the ground in front of him. He then infused chakra in the brush, dipped it in ink, and got to work. At speeds that seemed blurry to the untrained eye, Naruto wrote down an elaborate seal on the scroll and quickly closed it. Naruto made 2 hand signs, and then in a poof of smoke, it suddenly shrunk to be 2 inches tall and not nearly as wide. He then got a kunai, and opened off the bottom to reveal that the hilt was hollow, and placed the mini scroll within it. He then put the bottom back on and got ready to throw it at a tree. Everyone looked in anticipation, wanting to see what that elaborate seal was. Naruto then threw the kunai, and it hit a large tree. The moment it hit, the tree quickly lit in blue flames. And it was gone. Not in ash either. Just gone. Without trace. You wouldn't even think a tree was there if not for the holes where the roots once were. And for the last jutsu, all 14 clones circle around Iruka and jumped at him. He then made the hand sign for the transformation jutsu in midair. And the moment Iruka knew what was going on, it was too late. Henge. All of the Narutos said in unison. And in a puff of smoke, they transformed. When the smoke let out, everyone, especially Iruka, could see 14 adult, naked, female Narutos giving Iruka a lot of attention, hugging his arms, rubbing up against him, and talking about Iruka in a seductive manner, addressing him as Iruka-sama. Eventually, it proved too much, and Iruka blasted back, like a rocket of noseblood. Hey, knocked out 2 senseis in one day. I'm on a roll, Naruto said while releasing the naked girl transformation, ignoring the threatening glare Ino was giving him for using that move. Again, after he was done telling himself how good of a job he did, he reached into his back pocket and retrieved a scroll. He opened the scroll, revealing a sealing array. He infused his chakra, making the contents release, revealing 50 scrolls. These scrolls had names of jutsus on them like Kaden, Massive Fireball Jutsu, and Sweeten, Raging Water Wall. He kept sorting through the scrolls until he found the one on the information to his original seal, so Iruka could properly grade it. While this was happening, the class noticed some scrolls with familiar jutsu names, and realized what this was. Naruto, are those all the jutsus you know? Asked Kiba. Yeah, said Naruto. Pretty cool, huh? Kiba just nodded in response. After that, Iruka got up. Naruto gave him the scroll. Iruka gave out the Hiteites to everyone and Naruto, Hinata, Choji, Ino and Shikamaru talked amongst each other while everyone was recovering from what just happened. Time skip 1 hour, okay. Bye guys. See ya tomorrow, Naruto said to everyone in the class as he walked home with Ino, Shikamaru and Choji. So, how do you guys think you did? Ino said, trying to start conversation. What kind of question is that? He told us if we passed or not, said Naruto. I don't think I passed though, Naruto said. Kidding. But not showing it. Naruto, said Choji. You got first place for Shuriken Jutsu. Left Mizuki in a crater. And left the third Hokage in the dust. You cannot say you failed. Yeah, I know, said Naruto, waving it off. Anywho, you guys excited for ninja training? Said Naruto. Said Ino nervously. Of course, said Choji. It's a bit too much of a drag. I'd prefer to do cloud watching with you guys, said Shikamaru. Well, I'd prefer to go pick flowers with Naru-kun again. But we don't all get what we want, said Ino with a sigh. Besides Choji, said Shikamaru. Asked Ino as she tilted her head sideways in questioning. You don't know? Screamed Choji like it was the end of the world. Which in response, Naruto just held the ridge of his nose in anticipation and mild annoyance. No, not really, said Ino. Today is the day of our 20th quarterly eat-off. Screamed Choji with fire in his eyes. Hopefully I catch up, said Naruto. I'm losing to this guy 12-7. You will never catch up. You don't have the stomach, said Choji. Due to? Screamed Naruto. No way. You can't stand up to this gluttony, said Choji with a huff of his chest. Oh, how'd I approach your level, oh gluttonous one, said Naruto sarcastically. The trick is in the new seafood diet, said Choji like he was about to make a massive revelation. Huh? Said Naruto in confusion. Yeah. The rules are simple. You see food and you eat it, said Choji. To which the three others could barely hold back a sigh. It's a good pun and you know it, said Choji. Choji, said Shikamaru. The day you make a decent food pun is the day I run a marathon voluntarily. HMPH. Grunted Choji in annoyance, muttering something along the lines of, I'll show you. Anyways. Let's hope that he doesn't drink the sake, said Shikamaru. We don't want it turning out like that extra. Chapter 3's. What are you talking about? Said Naruto. What's an extra? Ignore that, said Shikamaru. A few minutes later. In the Hyuga compound, Hinata just got home from the academy. Content with her scores. And a smile of pure, unadulterated joy on her face from her conversations with her beloved Naruto-kun. This was the only thing that kept her mood up as, on request, she had to go to her dad's office within the clan compound. So she walked over there, taking a few turns in the hallways before she got to the door of her dad's office. She quietly knocked on the door and waited a few seconds before she heard, "Come in." Hinata opened the door to her dad's office and sat down on the floor, waiting for her dad to raise his head from the paperwork he is buried in. Hinata's dad, Hiyashi, was an old man with a overly serious, stuck-up demeanor to him. He had tan skin, long, dark brown hair, and the classic, light lavender-colored eyes of the Hyuga clan. He wore military green clan robes over a white gi, and while you couldn't see it then, also wore shinobi sandals. Slowly, Hiyashi looked up from his mound of paperwork and addressed his daughter. "Yes, Hinata. I'm glad you came." Hinata nodded at this and got prepared to speak on the topic. "So, on to business," said Hiyashi. "How did you do on the graduation exam?" "Pretty good, I guess," said Hinata. "More specific," stated Hiyashi. "Well, for the Shuriken Jutsu test I got 22.7 points. Managing to just barely get myself in third place for that test," said Hinata. "Okay. Expected I guess," said Hiyashi with an emotionless mask on his face. "How about the Jutsu test? I got third place on that too. Being one of the 3 in the class to exceed 6 points on that one. This class isn't too special I guess," thought Hiyashi, not knowing just how wrong he was. "And the taijutsu?" asked Hiyashi. Hinata looked down in slight embarrassment at her placing for the taijutsu, expecting a not-so-pleasant reaction. "I got third place on that too." At this, Hiyashi's face turned into a frown, not wanting to get too upset without getting the full picture. "Who were the ones who scored higher than you?" "It was the same 2 people each test who beat me," said Hinata. "2 prodigies. It appears something has slipped my observation, though, Hiyashi." "And who would they be?" "Well, the one who got second at everything was Sasuke," said Hinata quietly. bracing for her dad's reaction at the first place. Someone better than Sasuke, thought Hiyashi. Is this some kind of new arrival? And the first? Asked Hiyashi. And Naruto-kun got first, said Hinata timidly. At this Hiyashi's first reaction was to go wide-eyed. Then his eyes narrowed, believing that Hinata has lied to him, giving him false information. The nerve. Hinata. Are you lying to me? Said Hiyashi, suppressing an explosion of anger. What? No. I would never do that to Sen, said Hinata back. You expect me to believe that deadlast prankster beat you and Sasuke? Hiyashi screamed at his daughter and stood up, towering over his daughter. He would not tolerate a lying daughter and potential heir for that matter. No San, I'm serious, said Hinata adamantly. I wouldn't lie to you. Yeah you are. You're just protecting you stupid crush, said Hiyashi. I'm not, said Hinata, starting to get quite annoyed with her father's childish stubbornness. She's right, said a mysterious Anbu from right behind him. This Anbu in particular wasn't wearing a cloak, making it fairly obvious it was a she. Her hair was purple and long, going down just about her lower back. She wore the normal Anbu breastplate and sleeveless flak jacket. She also wore an Anbu mask with the appearance of a cat. Yes, I have done the research. That mask is supposed to be a cat, and had a sword on her back. Hokage-sama is requesting a meeting on that topic, and is expecting your presence immediately. Sayonara. After saying that, she shunshined away, leaving a relatively dumbfounded Hiyashi and a relieved Hinata. Well, it appears that you weren't lying to me, said Hiyashi in his normal monotone voice. Good job. I guess. See you later. Hiyashi then shunshined away, leaving Hinata alone in the clan compound. In the meeting place at the base of Hokage Tower, Hiyashi just got at the meeting place and saw that he was currently in a council-like circular room that he was all too familiar with. Looking at the desk, he saw that he was the last one to arrive, but not by a large margin because he saw an overweight member of the civilian council and Shikaku himself still walking to their spots. So he decided to take his seat as well. Soon enough he sat down in between the Nara and Aburame clan heads, and awaited the arrival of the Hokage. This didn't take too long however, as the Hokage entered the room not even 2 minutes later and took his seat at the head. The meeting has begun. Hello all who have joined us for this meeting today, said the Hokage in a commanding voice. I propose a motion on the discussion of Naruto's reveal. Those for. Raise your placards. Everyone who agreed on this motion raised their placards while the rest kept it down. The Hokage did a quick count and then said the results. Okay. 17 for. 5 against. The discussion shall be set into action, said the aged Hokage. Why did so many of you agree to discuss this? Asked one of the civilian councilmen who disagreed. He's just a weak, snot-nosed demon that has been nothing but trouble to this village. First of all, he's not a demon. Second of all, I'm sure that for the most part, when the Anbu picked you guys up, they told you guys that this was about what Naruto has chosen to reveal today, said Hiruzen. HMPH. And that would be? Said the same councilman. His real strength, said the Hokage. Even if we were to believe you, that just means he's not dead last. Still isn't worth talking about, said a councilwoman this time, also not agreeing to this conversation. Well, he's not dead last, that's for sure, said Hiruzen as he took out a file. He then threw this file to Danzo and told him to read it. Danzo said as he opened the file. This is the results of the graduation exams. Anyone besides Naruto you want me to read? Yeah. Read Sasuke's as well. Give him something to compare to, said the Hokage. Danzo nodded at this and turned the pages until he got to Uchiha Sasuke in the file. Okay. Sasuke. He actually did pretty good on the graduation, getting 10th place in the history of the academy graduation for Shuriken Jutsu, and the top 2% in both the Jutsu and Antaijutsu test, said Danzo. That's right. That's our Sasuke, said a not-so-calm councilman, showing off to basically no one, to which the Hokage not so quietly cleared his throat in order to get back on topic. Okay. Now, read Naruto, the Hokage said. a growing smirk present on his face. Danzo simply nodded and turned to the next page. And instantly, his eyes, or eye, widened to the size of dinner plates. What is it, Danzo? Asked Hiyashi. This kid, this supposed dead last, got first place in the history of the exam. On every section. Said Danzo. Absolutely dumbfounded. What? No way. What specifically did he get? Said Sume, head of the Inuzuka clan. He got 48. 8 points on the Shuriken Jutsu test, beating the now second placer, Shisui Uchiha's score by 3 points. Said Danzo. He used a jutsu, didn't he? Said Isaho, head of the Hitaki clan. Yes. That is a thing. Yes. The Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu to be exact. Said Danzo. But that's a B rank. Responded Isaho. Yes it is. Responded the Hokage. Okay. Now on to the taijutsu test. Said Danzo. Not wanting to stray off topic. He did astoundingly well on that too. Scoring a perfect score. Showing perfect form and impressive strength, for the 8 seconds that they even saw it. How in the hell is that possible? Screamed Takahawa, head of the Sarutobi clan. How he did it? A combination of weight training, resistance seals and senjutsu manipulation. Said Shikaku. How would you know? Asked the overweight loudmouth of the civilian council. Maybe because I knew of this. Considering he has lived with me for a large portion of his life. Said Shikaku. So did I. Said Choza. And I. Said Inoichi. And I. Said the Hokage. Then why did you keep this from us? Asked Hiyashi. Because he asked us to. Said Hiruzen. Why would he do that? Said a random councilman. He intended to keep the facade up so he gets partnered up with the top shinobi and kunoichi in the class. But I guess he had enough of it on the last day. Said the Hokage. But how did he hide his chakra? Said Hiyashi. I'm sure my clan's eyes would have picked something up. That is thanks to a permanent transformation seal of his own design. Said Inoichi. That doesn't change anything. When you do a transformation, your chakra reserves don't change. Said Hiyashi. You misunderstand me. It's not a ninjutsu. It's a fuinjutsu. And one of his 2A rank ones at that. Said Inoichi. A transformation fuinjutsu? Asked Hiyashi. Yeah. It's his original design. Said Inoichi. With this seal, it requires a small portion of the user's blood within the seal's ink, and when constructed correctly, can transform the user, physically, into anything they choose, only able to be undone or spotted by placing the user's blood on said seal. So, a seal that bypasses the Byakugan, said Hiyashi mostly to himself. His pride hurt because his eyes, the ones held in such high regards by all of Konoha, is surpassed by a seal made by a 12-year-old kid. Yes. Said Inoichi. Now, back to taijutsu. Said the Hokage. Naruto has some level of mastery in 4 different taijutsu types. Academy style, Grey Wolf style, Ken Monk style and Kumite style. Wait, but isn't Kumite style the one only mastered by Jiraiya, and the 1st and 4th Hokage? Asked Isaho. Indeed. Said the Hokage. It requires for the accumulation of senjutsu on any given part of a person's body. And while Naruto can't intake the natural energy, he has an uncanny ability to control it to an extent, allowing its formation on the palm of his hand in order to increase the strength of his blows. That's quite the powerful taijutsu. Said Danzo. Indeed. Said the Hokage. And before we get off topic again, read out his scores for the jutsu test. Yeah. That's easily the most impressive section. Said Danzo. Even more impressive than his ability to manipulate natural energy? Asked Sume. Slightly. Said Danzo. Sasuke's score. 9. Itachi's score. 17. Shisui's score. 19. Orochimaru's score. 20. My score. 22. Our Hokage's score. 29. And with this in mind, Naruto's score is 53. At this, everyone had different reactions. The civilian council was seething. Most of the shinobi council had their jaws firmly attached with the floor. The Ino Shika Cho gave out cocky smirks. Danzo somehow kept up his emotionless facade and the Hokage let out a chuckle. Everyone looked at the Hokage as he gave out the chuckle, and grew furtherly confused as it transformed into a full-blown laugh. "Hokage-sama?" asked Hiyashi, not knowing what could possibly be so funny. No, it's nothing really," said the Hokage. "It clearly isn't nothing, Hokage-sama," said one of the civilian council members. "It's just that he was severely holding back, and that is all," said the Hokage. "What?" said Hiyashi. "Yeah. I hold quarterly tests for Naruto to see where he stands. The most recent of which is where he beats Asuma," said the Hokage. "Anywho, I require him to display every one of his jutsu every test. And he holds 50 in his possession, of which include 25 ninjutsu, 8 genjutsu and the rest fuinjutsu. Wait. But with 53 points. And you saying he severely held back? That means he has some highly ranked techniques," said Toroa, head of the Kurama clan. "You can say that," said Hiruzen. "Well then, how many of his 25 ninjutsu are above D rank?" asked Toroa. "Well, that would be 21," said Hiruzen, dumbfounding everyone. And that is when Toroa decided to take it one step further. "Above C rank?" asked Toroa. 13, said Hiruzen. "But he's not even an official genin," screamed Sume. "But he has been training non-stop for the past 8 years," said Hiruzen. "He's still not even 13, replied Sume, still mind blown beyond all belief. "What does age have to do with it?" said the Hiruzen wisely. "Maybe his chakra reserves," responded Sume, with a tone that refers to it as obvious. "That, my friend, is no issue," responded Hiruzen. "Naruto's chakra pool is larger than any 2 jonin of this village put together." "But how?" said Isaho. "He may be an Uzumaki and stores that demon of his, but his chakra network shouldn't be able to handle so much chakra." "Yes it can," said Choza. "Don't underestimate his training. He's put blood, sweat and tears into his training since he was 4. And the results are clearly shown. On top of that, he's an Uzumaki with a tenet that fixes any and all damage to his chakra network." This didn't get a response from anyone as they didn't have anything to say. In the silence, the third Hokage realized he had other matters to discuss. So he ended the meeting then and there. "Okay everyone. We have the matter of the genin teams to discuss. So I will release a true full file of Naruto into the archives for anyone with more questions," said Hiruzen. "I now present the motion to adjourn this meeting. Any oppositions?" No one raised their hands, so the Hokage ended the meeting. Ready to start what this meeting was supposed to be about. 20 minutes later. "Does everyone agree on the members of Team 6? asked Hiruzen to the 22 others in the circular room. There were no objections to the response. So Hiruzen put Team 6 down as Torio Akito, Amino Hatake, and Sophie Akare. "Okay. Now for Team 7. I will be having Kakashi Hatake as the Junin sensei," Hiruzen said, leaving mutters in its wake. "And the squad members are Haruno Sakura, Uchiha Sasuke, and Uzumaki Naruto." "Nani?" said all of the people in the room. "Any issues?" asked Hiruzen. "Yeah," Sume said boldly. "If we are to believe what you said earlier, that means that you are putting both of the class prodigies together in one team. Not to mention Sakura. She's no dead last herself. The teams are completely off balance." "Yes, that may be true. But balance isn't always what's important in a team. I put them together so they can get stronger as a whole. So they can grow to be like a family to one another," said Hiruzen. Everyone looked at Hiruzen in question, knowing full well that that is not the whole reason. "May you please elaborate?" said a member of the civilian council. Size ** OK. About the first part. This is the perfect team so that everyone will want to improve on themselves," said Hiruzen. "Sakura is a fangirl of Sasuke. So she will want to get stronger to impress Sasuke. And maybe Naruto and Kakashi can do something about the fangirl attitude before it gets her killed. Sasuke will want to get stronger to achieve his goal as an Avenger and catch up to Naruto. Naruto will be taught by someone who knows over 1,000 jutsus. And Kakashi will want to get stronger so that one of his genin students don't surpass him." "But why would you need Kakashi to get stronger?" asked Isaho. Isn't it obvious? Asked Hiruzen. I'm getting old. And need to start thinking of a next Hokage. And what other real options do we have? Itachi? Dead. Shisui? Dead. Orochimaru? Might as well be. Asuma? Beat by a 12-year-old. Jiraiya? Would never take the position. And Tsunade? I'd rather not go looking for her unless I need to. So what you're thinking is, started Danzo. Yes. I need Kakashi to step up his training. Get back to his prime and even stronger than that. I need a strong, capable leader. One who I can safely say will lead this village into prosperity. And who better than him? Said Hiruzen. I guess that makes sense. Said Toroa. But relying on a 12-year-old won't cut it if you want to make him that strong. I'm not. It's just extra incentive. Said Hiruzen. So, back on topic. Are you guys satisfied with the answer? Everyone looked around with a slightly disagreeing look on their face, giving the so-so sign. And this is when Hiruzen knew he would have to pull out the big guns. Something he would have preferred to keep secret. But better reveal than have them disagree. Okay. Well, there is one more reason. Said Hiruzen. Then spit it. Said Sume impatiently. But first I ask you this. Why did you want Sasuke on Kakashi's squad? Said Hiruzen. Isn't it obvious? Said one of the civilian council members. When he awakens the Sharingan, Kakashi will be there to teach him how to use it. Well, what if I told you that Naruto has the Sharingan already awakened? Said Hiruzen. But he doesn't, right? Asked that same civilian council member. All three Tomos. Said Hiruzen. But how? Asked Isaho. He's no Uchiha. He's a demon. No way he should have the Sharingan. You're half right. Said Hiruzen, trying to hold back his rage at Naruto being called a demon. He is no Uchiha. Then how? Asked Shibi in his normal monotone voice. By genetics he is no Uchiha. Said Hiruzen. But for some weird, undiscovered reason, his chakra screams. Uchiha. Senju. Uzumaki. Slight amounts of Hyuga and trace amounts of some clan that is not found in our databooks. I believe that is what the senjutsu manipulation could be attributed to. This is so perfect. Said one of the civilian council members. One who is widely known to hate Naruto the most. Why's that? Asked Hiruzen. We should put him in the clan rebirth program. It's a way to gain power beyond anything we've ever imagined. And nobody will give a crap because he's just a demon. Said that same member. This earned him a lifetime's supply of killing intent from our beloved Hiruzen Sarutobi, Choza Akamichi, Shikaku Nara and Inoichi Yamanaka. Little did he know that overdose side effects included constant sweating, shivering, blurry vision, throwing up and a combination of bathroom numbers 1 and 2 that some experts politely refer to as the double-sided blastoise. Only cures, immediate apologize or a fainting session of a few days. The council member chose the second option. Now everyone listen here. Naruto Uzumaki is no demon. I repeat. He is not a demon. Said the Hokage. How can you support him so much? He destroyed half of the village. Said Sume. No. The Kyuubi did. Said Hiruzen. Naruto was just who it was sealed into. Since when did the council get so forsaken that you can't distinguish a kunai from a scroll? To this, the council put down their heads in guilt. But Hiruzen was not done. Do you know how stupid your ideas for mobs, torture and hating him are? Screamed Hiruzen. Above even the seal. His willpower to protect this village is what prevents the Kyuubi from escaping. And you're giving him every reason in the world to either leave, or release the Kyuubi a second time. Is that what you want? The room fell into a deep silence as they comprehended what happened. Most looked back as to how stupid they were for treating him so badly. They thought that it was for the betterment of the village as of that time. That it was rightful revenge. But they now see that this is what the Kyuubi wants. A Jinchuriki that would let it free. One that it could control. Others were just as focused on the fact that the legendary god of shinobi has returned. No longer that overly kind old man. When the fourth sealed the Kyuubi inside Naruto as a baby, he did it with the intention of Naruto being hailed as a hero. Not to be treated as a demon. said Hiruzen in a far more calm voice. By treating him badly you have spat on and insulted the fourth sacrifice. You should all feel ashamed of yourselves. After another minute or two of silence for most of the council, and relief for the four with a brain, Hiruzen decided it's about damn time to continue the meeting. We've pondered this enough. We need to get back to business so we can call in the Junin senseis before nightfall, said Hiruzen. Agreed, said Sume. As of that the meeting went on. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura was under Team 7, taught by Hatake Kakashi. Hinata, Kiba and Shino was under Team 8 run by Yuhi Kurenai. And the Ino Shikacho kids was under the strongest Sarutobi on active duty. As tradition goes, Asuma Sarutobi. Then they were dismissed. Everyone thinking about the Hokage's outburst. And the current Ino Shikacho were thinking of something else. The graduation party. 10 minutes later. At the Yamanaka compound. Knock. 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 Coming. Naruto said. Getting up from the game of chess that he was playing with Ino for a change. Naruto walked up to the door and opened it. To see his dad standing right there. Hey, Tusan. How was the meeting? Asked Naruto. Hey Naruto. Actually quite well, said Inoichi, bringing his son into a hug. Soon enough, Ino ran to them and joined in the hug. Hello to you too Ino, said Inoichi jokingly. How was the graduation exams? I passed, said Ino. Naruto's sparring with me helped. I did well on the taijutsu test. Nice, said Inoichi. And you Naruto? I heard you showed them today huh? Why yeah, I did, said Naruto embarrassed. However much I disagreed with the plan, I gotta say, it was pure genius, said Inoichi. After only needing to hold it for one more day. What caused you to show them now? Cool story, said Naruto. Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, Iruka, and even Hinata were protecting me after the class started making fun of me. And I don't think it's fair to have their reputation ruined just because you are protecting me. And now my plan is ruined. I'm going to be assigned to a crap team. Fair enough, said Inoichi. Also, no you're not. You'll be assigned with Sasuke and Sakura and your sensei will be. And now is when I realized that I'm not supposed to tell you this. Hey, thanks to San, said Naruto with a grin. Yeah whatever, said Inoichi with a slightly annoyed face. Now on to more important matters. More important than our graduation. Do tell, said Naruto, making an exact copy of Ino's curious look as of right then and there. Of course, said Inoichi. Tonight is gonna be one of the biggest parties of your life. Wait, the graduation party. I forgot about that, said Ino. What graduation party? Asked Naruto. You're kidding me right? Asked Inoichi. Neither Choza, Shikaku or myself told you about this. Not that I remember, said Naruto flatly. Well, to sum it up, said Inoichi, when a member of the Sarutobi, Yamanaka, Nara or Akamichi clans graduate from the academy, the four clans hold a huge party in commemoration. And we have 3 graduates. So tonight's gonna be fun. Huh? Sounds neat, said Naruto. Oh yeah, Ino. Who are you taking as your guest? Asked Inoichi. Guest? What are you talking about? Asked Naruto. Since only members of the 4 clans get invitations, the graduates can invite a friend if they want, said Inoichi. Choji chose you for the eat-off and Ino hasn't decided. And Shikamaru? Asked Naruto. Too troublesome, said Inoichi. Should have known, said Naruto. So who are you inviting? Asked Inoichi a second time. As I said, I forgot about it. So I don't have someone in mind, said Ino, lightly pinching her chin with NER thumb and pointer fingers as she did so, like she was thinking. I know someone, said Naruto. Who? Asked Ino. Sakura, said Naruto. You know I don't like her anymore, said Ino. This is for me, said Naruto. But I thought your crush on her was fake, said Ino. It was, said Naruto. And before you ask why, here is the reason. As you would have probably been able to tell, Sakura has been avoiding me since the day we entered the academy because I was acting like that jumpsuit-clad idiot. And now that I'm no longer under the transformation, I want to be her friend again. Just like old times, you know. Also, we are on the same team now. As Tusano so legally put it. Naruto. Shut up about that before I perform mind destruction on you, said Inoichi. That's useless on me and you know it, said Naruto. The troubles of raising a prodigy, Inoichi said, mock dismay. Love you too, Tusan, said Naruto with a foxy grin. Yeah, I know what you mean. Prince Charming, said Ino mockingly. This resulted in a tick mark on Naruto's forehead and a chuckle from Inoichi. Ino, I wanted to train with Tusan. And you two were non-stop about wanting to play, said Naruto, trying to justify his actions. So I just treated this as an infiltration and retrieval mission. I know. But it was just so cute. Ino was borderline squealing. Flashback. 5 years ago. Here we see Naruto, Ino, Sakura and Inoichi all hanging out at the park. The same park that Naruto and Choji was in before the Hinata rescue. Naruto was sparring with Inoichi on the grassy area of the park while the two girls were building a sand castle. But that sand castle gave Ino a thought. Hey, Sakura. Wouldn't it be cool if we were princesses? Trapped in a castle. Before getting saved by our prince, said Ino in her high-pitched 7-year-old voice with googly eyes present on her face. Yeah. He would beat the dragon. Save me and we'd kiss while the sun sets, said Sakura. It would be so romantic. Yup, said Ino with a smile on her face as she continued to imagine how the situation would play out in her head. They continued building the sand castle in a comfortable silence until Sakura decided to ask, with us four, who would be what? Well, Naruto-kun would be the prince because he is the same age as us. Tusan would be the dragon because he's big and ugly, said Ino, resulting in a sneezing Inoichi, giving Naruto the chance for a sucker punch to the cheek. And I'd be the princess. No I would, said Sakura. No I would, said Ino slightly angrier. No I would. You would just be a witch that the prince has to get past, said Sakura. This started an argument in which Ino and Sakura kept trying to outdo each other with second-grade insults, that is, until Ino came up with a master plan. Hey, Sakura, Ino said in a calm, excited voice, like the argument never happened. Yeah, Sakura said, clearly dismissing the argument as well. What if we make it a game? Said Ino. I'll be the princess. Naruto will be the prince. Tusan will be the dragon. And you help Tusan. And the jungle gym will be the castle, said Sakura excitedly. Yeah, screamed Ino excitedly. Instantly, they both ran to Inoichi and Naruto to beg. I mean ask for them to play. When they got there, they kept constantly asking to play the princess rescue game with them. In the beginning few minutes, Naruto or Inoichi gave them a quick no while they spared. But after a few minutes, it got annoying. Naruto then paused the match and said, fine, I'll consider it. But I need to know the rules first. This is when Sakura and Ino listed out the rules to the prince and dragon of the game. Naruto's face remaining neutral the whole time. And when they finished, Naruto was about to give a response. But Inoichi decided to break the ice first. We'll play. This will be fun. Maybe even a way for Naruto to get some training with infiltration missions, said Inoichi. Fine. But at least let's spar for a bit longer as they figure something out, said Naruto. What do you mean? Asked Ino. Which of you will become princess first? Naruto said with a grin, content with his own genius. As the two walked off, Ino thought she was smart and said, obviously me. No me, Sakura said. You know where this is going. 15 minutes later. Everyone is in positions for the start of the game, ready to begin at any moment. Sakura was standing at the top of the jungle gym, or castle, as they call it. Naruto was standing at the bottom, while the two Yamanakas stood at different points within the castle, to prevent Naruto from getting to the top. Ready? Sakura said, as the game was approaching its beginning. Go. Soon enough. Naruto ran towards the other side of the jungle gym, where Ino was. Inoichi caught this and figured Naruto would try to enter through the point with the weakest security. So he made a shadow clone next to Ino, and intercepted Naruto as he was about to enter. Then, Naruto made the same hand sign, and in 3 puffs of smoke, now there were 4 Narutos, 2 on the original Inoichi's side, and 2 on the shadow clone and Ino's side. Soon a fight broke out, each Inoichi taking on 2 Narutos. This was a fight where Inoichi was going easy, but Naruto was doing really well for someone his age. A minute into the game, after a total of 3 yells from Sakura for Naruto to save her, the shadow clone of Inoichi realized Ino wasn't fighting alongside him. So he looked back to see Ino, fixing her hair, and checking her nails. "Ino, you're supposed to help me, remember?" said Inoichi. "Why would I do that?" said Ino. "I need to look at my best for when Naruto-kun saves me too." Troublesome girls, Inoichi thought. Not far after said thought, one of the Narutos backed away and started making hand seals. "Sweeten. Water trumpet jutsu," said Naruto. Soon after, a stream of water comparable to that of a garden hose got spewed from his mouth, wetting the floor that the Inoichi shadow clone stood on. This caused the shadow clone to trip and hit his head on the floor, making the shadow clone poof out of existence. After that, the original Naruto went for Sakura, while the shadow clone went for Inoichi. With 3 shadow clones to battle at once, Inoichi couldn't make the hand sign for the shadow clone jutsu fast enough to stop Naruto from reaching the top. Once Naruto went the long and arduous journey of the rickety bridge and stairwell of 1,000 steps. You know what I'm saying? Naruto got to the top. In order to get down as fast as possible, Naruto decided to carry Sakura bridal style and run down the slide to the safe point, the grass. Once there, Naruto stopped and earned himself a kiss on the cheek and hands wrapped around his neck from Sakura, while she was still in his arms. "My hero," Sakura said in the best dreamy princess impersonation she could make. All of this promptly earned her a blush from Naruto, a chuckle from Inoichi, and an unrelenting squeal from Ino. Then, they kept playing this game, switching turns between Ino and Sakura as princess, and Naruto trying new infiltration strategies until the day ended and they had to go home. Flashback end. "Yup. Good times," said Ino. "HMPH. As all Naruto gave in response. "I think we teased him enough with that flashback," said Inoichi. "What? Come on," said Ino. "But there are so many more." "Why me?" thought Naruto to himself. Many flashbacks later. "This is torture," thought Naruto as he was forced to endure 4 additional flashbacks. "Oh. And remember when," started Ino. "Ino. At this rate we will be late for the party. Will you invite Sakura or not?" said Naruto annoyed. "Alright, fine," said Ino. "Okay, good. Now to get ready," said Naruto in relief, walking off to take a shower. "Those were some good times," said Inoichi. "Yeah. And if it weren't for today, I would totally ship Naruto and Sakura," said Ino. "Not anymore?" asked Inoichi. "Yeah. Sakura has fallen too low," said Ino. "There's someone else now." "Wait. What?" screamed Inoichi. "Who? That's not for me to tell," said Ino. 1 hour later, everyone was ready. Naruto was walking to the Akamichi clan estate so he could go to the party with Choji as Choji's guest. Inoichi was already at the Sarutobi compound setting up the party with everyone else, and Ino was going to pick up Sakura. Soon enough, Sakura's house came into view, and Ino couldn't stop the embarrassment in inviting her rival to the party. But it was probably karma for having Naruto endure 5 teasing flashbacks back to back. This is for Naruto, Ino had to constantly remind herself. It didn't take long for Ino to get to Sakura's door, and after a deep breath, she knocked. She didn't get an immediate response, so she knocked again, and immediately after, the door opened, revealing Sakura in red kimono with cherry blossom designs on it. Her hair was up in an elaborate bun-like way and held by 2 chopsticks. She also wore red medium high heels and had her makeup done. A huge contrast to Ino, who had her normal clothes on. Sakura. This isn't a formal party, said Ino. Oh, it isn't, said Sakura in embarrassment. I'll be right back. 15 minutes later, Ino and Sakura just started walking over to the Sarutobi compound. And Sakura just changed into her normal clothes. Was it not on the invitation? Said Ino. Maybe. I just saw I was invited and got ready. I didn't read the rest, said Sakura. Baka, said Ino. Anyways, said Sakura. Why did you invite me? Wouldn't you have invited Sasuke? That was my first choice. But then I realized he wouldn't want to come, said Ino. And Naruto was the one who wanted to invite you. Wait, is this some sort of date? Asked Sakura, annoyed. If it is, then I'm turning back. Sakura? Naruto faked his crush on you, said Ino. That's what I though. Wait, what? Said Sakura. He faked it, said Ino. Just like his weakness and lack of a fashion sense. Wait. So why did he want to invite me? Asked Sakura. That's not for me to tell, said Ino. Finish. Extras. This is part of the council meeting that sort of got skipped over. Danzo was reading through the list of jutsus that Naruto showed. And he saw one that he knew the Hokage was all too familiar with. Hokage-sama. You may want to see this, said Danzo as he threw the file back to the Hokage. Read through the jutsus Naruto displayed in the exam. The Hokage read through the jutsus, and once he got to the last one, his eyes widened significantly. And a mild blush on his face. I see. So he used that jutsu, said Naruto. What jutsu? Said Hiashi. Intrigued. Is it some ultra-powerful, complex jutsu? Asked Isuho. Size, no it isn't, said the Hokage. It takes virtually no chakra, and requires D-rank chakra control, but its outcome may result in bleeding out to death for any male who lays eyes on it. I'm considering making it a kinjutsu. It's that powerful. Well, we need to teach it to all of our ninja. It will give us an immense advantage in battle, said one of the civilian council members. Under no condition, screamed Hiruzen harshly, the blush increasingly present on his face. Why? Asked Sume. It's too risky, said Hiruzen. The training required to achieve this jutsu has sent many to the hospital, and some to the grave. It requires hitting an all-time low, and no ninja besides Naruto has the willpower to use it. Fine. May we at least know its name? Asked Shibi. I believe its most commonly used name is the Oiroku no Jutsu, said Hiruzen. Sakura and Ino has continued to walk in a tense silence for the minutes passing Sakura's question. And it wasn't until now that the Sarutobi complex came into view. Hey Sakura. Looks like we're almost there, said Ino, while pointing at the compound. Wow, it's big, said Sakura. Yeah. It's the leading clan of the Akamichi, Yamanaka and Nara clans. It has to be big, said Ino. You don't say, said Sakura in awe. A minute or two of walking later, the two were at the entrance of the Sarutobi compound, and they saw a guard at said entrance. Hello Ino. Is that your guest? Said the guard in a protective monotone voice. Yeah. Her name is Sakura Haruno, said Ino. To which the guard nodded and opened the door, letting them in. What they saw was that the party was still being prepared. Fitting considering they got there 20 minutes early. As they got a look around, an excited Naruto came running to them. Hey girls. What's up? Asked Naruto in a very energetic voice. Nothing much, said Ino. Why are you so hyper? I'm trying to get myself hungry for the eat-off between me and Choji, said Naruto. I ate a lot for lunch and this is happening in half an hour. Huh, said Ino. Not really knowing how to respond to that. Well, I brought Sakura. Didn't you have something to talk to her about? Yeah, said Naruto while diverting his attention to Sakura. Can we go for a walk? Fine. I guess, said Sakura as they walked out the door. Hope this works out, said Choji as he walked up behind Ino. Yeah, said Ino. Naruto deserves that much. They have been walking side by side for almost 2 minutes now, and Sakura decided to break the silence. Look Naruto. Just clarifying something, said Sakura. I appreciate the invitation, but I don't want this to be considered a date. Sakura. My crush on you was fake. I thought Ino would have told you about that, said Naruto. She did, said Sakura. But after 4 years of you constantly screaming it to the world, it's kind of hard to believe that it was all fake. I guess I can understand that, said Naruto. This started a slightly longer period of silence, as she then remembered the question she came to ask. But why then? Asked Sakura vaguely. Why invite me to the party? Well, look, Sakura. I may not love you in that way, but you are still precious to me, said Naruto. We were such good friends, almost inseparable before the academy. But then, I decided to put my future over our friendship. I acted like an idiot, and you were too embarrassed to be seen with someone like that. So you started repulsing me, acting like everyone else just so you can fit in. And I don't blame you for it. But now, you know I'm not that orange jumpsuit-clad idiot I acted as for 4 years. I'm the same as I always was. The one you played for hours with. Which were some of the happiest days of my life. And since we will be on the same team, it's now more than ever that I don't want to lose that. So, what do you say? Friends again? This speech made Sakura look at Naruto's wide-eyed. Never in a million years would Sakura think he was capable of such a monologue. But then again, this isn't the same knucklehead of the academy. This is Naruto Uzumaki, the real Naruto Uzumaki. She held back a single tear as a horde of amazing memories flooded her mind. Almost 3 years of fun returning to her in her seconds of dumbfoundedness. She didn't even think as she just stepped towards Naruto and gave him a hug, still holding back the tears. Yes, I would love to, said Sakura, as she continued hugging him. Naruto turned sideways within her grip and hugged her back. I'm glad to hear it. They held the position for the next few minutes until Sakura realized something. Wait, you could have done this any time. That doesn't explain why you invited me to the party, said Sakura. Well, our friendship is back. What other reason do we need to celebrate? Said Naruto. 10 minutes later, Naruto and Sakura just arrived back at the party. Seeing that it just begun. Before he even took 5 steps, an Akamichi spotted him and came at him so fast it could have been a Hirishin. Naruto. Your 20th eat-off with Choji is beginning in 5 minutes, said the Akamichi. Oh god, I forgot. Where is it happening? Screamed Naruto in a minor panic. Just at the food stand right there, said the Akamichi as he pointed to a stand that Choji was near. Thanks, said Naruto right before he dashed off to the bar. I guess he can't be entirely mature, thought Sakura to herself as she walked over to the stand to watch the impending competition. She soon ran into Ino on the way and decided to make amends with her. Oh Sakura, are you two friends again? Asked Ino. More than ever, said Sakura. Glad to hear it, said Ino. Also, I knew that Sasuke wasn't the only reason we stopped being friends at the academy. It was Naruto too, wasn't it? Asked Sakura. Ino looked down for a bit and then subtly nodded her head. Kind of like something Hinata would do. Yeah. Well, we're together again. So what do you say, friends again? Asked Sakura. Sure. I've wanted that for a while, replied Ino simply as they started walking over to the competition. Naruto and Choji were doing some workouts, trying to get themselves as hungry as possible before the competition, until they saw Ino and Sakura. Hey Sakura. Hey Ino. Naruto said as he got up from doing one-handed push-ups. What's up? Just here to see the competition, said Sakura. And to wish you luck. Choji once finished in 2 minutes and 34 seconds. That'll be hard to beat, said Ino. Nah. My metabolism has built up over time. I'm better than 2 matches ago, he said with a reassuring grin. Only thing that explains how you're not wider than tall, Ino said. Honestly, I'm jealous. Well, we're all born differently, said Naruto. Naruto Uzumaki and Choji Akamichi. May you please sit for the match, said an Akamichi, who was supposedly a referee. Well, that's my K. See you guys in a bit, said Naruto with a grin as he ran off. He's really something, this guy, said Sakura while shaking her head. Tell me about it, Ino said with a smile. Naruto and Choji sat down next to each other in front of the bar, and gave a quick handshake and wished each other a good game before the ref started talking. They took these games very seriously. Hello all. The games shall begin in 2 minutes. But until then, I would like to give some instructions first, said the Akamichi referee to the audience. As you can see, there are 40 bowls of ramen right next to each competitor. The goal is to finish it as quickly as possible. The first to eat it all wins. The audience was murmuring on the safety of this, but the Akamichi ignored it and went on. Now for the restrictions. They are not allowed to interfere with each other. They can't touch. And while they may supply chakra to your arms and stomach, there will be no jutsu, the Akamichi said. Any questions? No response. So the Akamichi turned to the two competitors and said, well, I guess that's it. The round begins in 40 seconds. The record to beat is Choji's 2 minutes and 34 seconds. You may begin when the time reaches 0. After that, the audience stood in silence, awaiting the competition. The two competitors were looking down at their first bowl in concentration. Ready to begin the millisecond it became 0. 3. 2. 1. Beep. The competition was on. The two went to work immediately, eating the bowls at a visibly similar pace. But at 30 seconds, the scoreboard showed that Choji was a solid bowl ahead of Naruto, beating him 9-8. They still didn't let up yet, didn't slow down, each quickly eating the ramen, drinking the soup, and then grabbing another bowl every few seconds. But at a minute, when Choji was beating Naruto 18-16, Choji was starting to let up, to the point that they were tied again at the 2-minute mark, each having 32 bowls. The tension was off the charts. Each 8, then 7 bowls away from the end. But then Choji started sweating. His arms were weakening, his heart thumping too hard, his stomach not being able to take the quick intake. So he ignored it, for the most part. Choji was still slowing down, at a significant pace, to the point that at the 2-minute and 15-second mark, Naruto was drinking the soup to his 37th one, while he was just now putting his 36th aside. But then, at 2 minutes and 26 seconds left, beep, Naruto has won. He was celebrating, and Choji finished 6 seconds after Naruto, and instantly collapsed on the floor. Many were dumbfounded that the Akamichi heir was beaten by the Uzumaki. But the rest? Woohoo! A lot of them screamed as they celebrated. The music from the party was only helping matters. A lot of them got together and lifted up Naruto, carrying him like he was floating down a stream, like at rock concerts. A minute or so later, when everyone rejoined the real party, Naruto walked up to Ino, Sakura and Choji. That was fun, Naruto said to Choji as he approached him. Yeah, he responded as they went for a high five. Sorry to ruin the moment, but how are you alive? Asked Sakura to both of them. I still wonder about that, Ino said. I don't quite know myself. Naruto responded to both of them. With me. It's my Akamichi blood. I can eat almost as much as I want, said Choji. We figured that much, said Sakura. This conversation is all well and good, but when are we gonna introduce ourselves onto the dance floor? Said Ino. I mean, this is a party commemorating US. True, said Sakura, nodding her head in acknowledgement. That is the reason why I came here after all. Okay, then it's settled. We meet on the dance floor, Naruto said before running into the crowd. Everyone else just nodded and followed suit, knowing full well that tonight's gonna be fun. Ino, Sakura, Choji and Naruto were dancing on their own, enjoying the party. This applied double to Naruto because he knew full well that if this were any other celebration in the entire Hidden Leaf, he would get kicked out immediately. So he danced to his fullest extent, letting the rhythm flow through him as he moved however it wished, and was having the time of his life in the process. Then after an hour or so, a tango song came on, one of the few that ever goes on. Knowing this full well, Naruto went in search of a partner. After a few seconds of not finding one, he laid his eyes upon someone who he would have believed would be the first for a partner. Ino. He saw her looking for someone, almost in a bit of panic because she loved to dance tango, but found no one. Now, Naruto could go look for someone else. But here was his family. One he knew loved to dance. In search of a partner that may never come. So he did what Naruto does best, make people happy. He walked up behind Ino, being sure not to be spotted, and grabbed her arm. He then gave her a twirl, much to her surprise, and leaned her back. With Ino in his grasp and their faces not even a foot apart, Naruto said in the most playful voice he could muster, "Hey princess, may I have this dance?" It took Ino a second to realize it was Naruto, and another to wipe that look of surprise off her face. But in the end she let out a smirk and said, "Yes, you may." They didn't waste any more time as they started dancing immediately. Naruto and Ino's dancing was flat out amazing if the surrounding party members had anything to say about it. Their movements were quick, flowing and precise, an extent of which could only be accomplished by a shinobi with more than a little experience with dancing. And that is why Ino wanted Naruto as a partner beyond anyone else. They were perfect dance partners for each other. Thanks to the dance classes Ino and Naruto went to every Saturday they were together. And because of this, people stopped their dance and looked at the performance. Even as the crowd watching grew in size, they stayed in the moment. They focused on every step, every turn, every reaction to each other. They knew what the other would do. It is like they both had the Sharingan, figuring out what the other would do almost before they did and responding in the best way possible. Truly the least violent of shinobi battles. And with their concentration on each other, they didn't notice the crowd grow. Shikamaru, Choji, Sakura, the Yamanaka Sakura was dancing with, and many others were looking in awe and slight jealousy at the two preteens. The only ones not surprised were Inoichi and Mina, who were looking proudly at their son and daughter. Then as they knew the song was reaching its end, they sped up. They kept speeding up their dance until at the last few beats Naruto spun Ino away, spun her back in. And as Ino was in his grasp he leaned her back, and the end. There they stood, in the same position as earlier. Naruto holding Ino to stop her from falling as she leaned back, Naruto's head barely half a foot from hers. And both were holding back their panting just a bit longer. After a second or two of this position, the crowd burst into cheers. Ino and Naruto stopped their position and looked around, unaware of how large the crowd got. Naruto gave a bow while Ino gave a bit of a curtsy before Sakura, Shikamaru and Choji went over there to tell them how good they were. "Thank you for the dance, Naruto-kun," Ino said with a genuine smile on her face. "Anything for you, Ino-chan," Naruto said right as they got there. The rest of the party was well spent as well. The five of them talked all through the night, ate snacks, played games, and Ino and Naruto danced again off of a dare. It was a fun night overall. The next morning, at the academy, today was the day of the team announcements, and class was about to start. Ino, Shikamaru, Naruto, Choji, Sakura and Hinata were all sitting together, talking about what they did last night. "Yeah, it was pretty fun," said Sakura with a smile. "We went to the Saru Ino Shika Cho party and had lots of fun." "Sounds fun," said Hinata. "I had to go to a formal ceremony at the clan complex." "Oh. Well, was it fun?" asked Sakura. "Did you dance with anyone?" asked Ino. "Yes, it was fun, I guess. But no, I did not dance with anyone," said Hinata. "Well, we did," said Sakura, referencing to Ino and herself. "I danced with a Yamanaka boy who asked me." And Ino pulled off one of the best dances I've ever seen with Naruto. Sakura didn't immediately know what she did. So in order to stop Hinata from getting sad, Ino pulled Hinata in closer and softly said in her ear, "Relax. It wasn't like that. Naruto just asked me to dance because I was looking for a partner and we took a few classes together. Don't worry, he's all yours." This resulted in a more positive and slightly blushing Hinata, and a baffled Naruto at what happened. But he decided to leave it be for now. "Oh yeah, Sakura. It's not like you to join our talks." "Why now?" asked Hinata. "Oh yeah," said Sakura. "As of last night, we're all friends again." "Good to hear," said Hinata. This conversation went on for a while until the teacher, Iruka, stood up and decided to start class. "Hello all. As you all know, Today is the day you split into U teams. The same team you will be with for the entirety of your time as a genin," said Iruka. "You probably cannot wait to figure it out. So let's get started." Iruka read out the names for teams 1 through 6. Before finally the main characters get their teams announced. Team 7. Under the tutelage of Hitaki Kakashi will be Uzumaki Naruto, Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke, said Iruka. This resulted in a squealing Sakura, having her 2 first picks as members of her team, her crush, and her new best friend. Naruto seemed content as well, and Sasuke knew it definitely could have been worse. Team 8. Under the tutelage of Yuhi Kurenai will be Hyuga Hinata, Inuzuka Kiba, and Aburame Shino, said Iruka. None of them gave any serious reaction. Instead they just looked around until they saw their other members and nodded to each other. Team 9 is still in circulation. So Team 10, under the tutelage of Asuma Sarutobi will be Akamichi Choji, Nara Shikamaru and Yamanaka Ino, said Iruka. None of them complained. Instead they looked at each other and nodded contently, honestly happy with their pairings. Iruka then said teams 11 and 12 before dismissing the class for lunch. The 6 of them walked outside and got a table for themselves. And as they ate their bentos, they decided to talk about the teams. "So, guys, are you okay with your teams?" asked Naruto. "I couldn't be happier with mine," said Sakura as she dreamily thought about Sasuke. "Sakura-chan, that fangirly attitude will get you killed," said Naruto. "Shut up. I'll never change," said Sakura. "We may have to do something about that," thought Naruto to himself. "Well, I'm just happy that what I did yesterday still got me on the strongest team. I thought that my team would suck or a second there," said Naruto. "Well, I'm happy too," said Ino. "Sure, you and Sasuke would have been better for me. But the Ino Shika Cho squad is a necessity when possible. And it's not like I hate my teammates either." "I'll agree with that," said Choji. "I'd prefer not to have a team," said Shikamaru. "I just want to lie back and look at the clouds, play games of shugi and whatnot, not go on missions." "How much you guys wanna bet Shikaku was the same way?" Naruto said to the Ino Shika Cho kids, getting laughs in response. "Oh yeah, Hinata," Sakura said. "You aren't with anyone in this group. Are you okay with your team?" "Size, I would have liked that. But I'm mature enough to understand that they are raising a team of tracking units. So it will be better for me to be on a team with people like that," said Hinata. "That being said, it's not all bad. Shino is quiet like I am, and Kiba I could get used to." They noticed that Hinata's voice was getting sadder a little bit at a time. She was sad that she would get separated from all of her friends. Sakura, Ino, Choji, Shikamaru and especially Naruto are all friends she made in the academy, albeit recently but made nonetheless. She was sad that she only got 2 days of this kind of happiness. And now it will all be taken away from her, just as fast as it came. Naruto, seeing this, did what he does best: make people happy. "Hinata-chan, don't worry about it. It's not like you won't see us anymore. I will at least be sure to come visit you as much as possible. And I'm sure those who don't think it's a drag agrees with me," Naruto said, resulting in a nod from everyone and a Shikamaru grumbling about annoying blondes. "We are friends forever. And I don't want a day to go by where you don't remember that." To that, Hinata let out a smile and a blush, and nodded. "Hi. Well, actually, I do have one request for you though," said Naruto. "Name it," said Hinata. "Have Kiba and Shino join the group," said Naruto. "Kiba seems fun and Shino needs to get out of his comfort zone. So please, be friends with them. And next time we meet, introduce them to me with pride." "Hi," Hinata said, intending on completing Naruto's request. And from there, the conversation started going in a more light-hearted direction. They were talking about missions they wanted to do, things they wanted in a sensei, and when they would make time to see each other. Then, Iruka called the students in and they awaited their senseis. After 20 minutes of waiting, teams 7, 8 and 10 were the only ones waiting for their senseis, and it started getting on their nerves. "What's taking them so long?" said a slightly impatient Choji. "Yeah, He's probably a sensei that's late for everything, eh? Ino said. About to continue, but a Jonin walked into the class. He looked into the 9 kids in the room and said, Team 10's sensei Asuma Sarutobi is here. Meet me on the Shuriken Jutsu field if 5 minutes. Asuma said before shining out of the room. Well, Naruto. This is goodbye. Choji said before running out of the room. You'll be staying at the Nara compound in a week, so I'll see you then, said the lazy Nara as he walked out of the classroom. Well, I'll see you at home after the team meeting, I guess, said Ino. So see you soon, Naru-kun. This left a slightly embarrassed Naruto, a laughing Kiba and a fuming Hinata. This was due to the fact that Shino and Sasuke didn't care, and Sakura, Naru-kun has a good ring to it, said Sakura to herself. I'm doomed, thought Naruto to himself. Right after said thought, another Junin walked into the room. This Junin had long, sort of wavy, long hair. She wore a dress that looked like it was made of large bandages with chainmail on the inside, and it had red sleeves. She wore red lipstick, a bit too much eyeshadow, and had red eyes. That is what stood out the most about her. Since Kiba knew his sensei was a girl, and that his team was one of the only 2 left, he got a good look at his sensei, and could barely stop himself from drooling at the results. Team 8's sensei, Kurenai Yuhi, is here. Report to the school gate in 5 minutes. The red-eyed beauty said before shining to the gate. Both Kiba and Shino left without a word, but Hinata decided to say a few last words. Naruto-kun. Sakura. Don't forget. We'll see each other soon, said Hinata as she walked out. Yeah, said both Naruto and Sakura at the same time as they gave her a nod. After that, things got boring. Sakura and Naruto talked from time to time, and Sasuke was brooding to pass the time. But their sensei hasn't arrived yet. Half an hour passed. Kurenai. Hey guys, Naruto said, projecting his voice so that both Sakura and Sasuke could hear him. Something you may want to know about Kakashi is that he is always at least an hour late to anything that isn't a mission. So, just letting you guys know of that. HMPH. Is all Sasuke replied with. But it was more of an annoyed, good to know kind of grunt than the typical non-caring grunt he usually sports. What? Why did we get the bad sensei? Screamed Sakura. By no means did we get a bad sensei. Most jonin would kill to have him as a sensei. He just happens to be late all the time, said Naruto. And you'd know this how? Asked Sakura. His file, of course, said Naruto. He's one of the strongest shinobi in the Hidden Leaf period. The files within the archives are preserved for Chunin and up only. How do you have access? Asked Sasuke. Much to both of their surprise. I have my ways, said Naruto. He may be more interesting than I thought Sasuke to himself. Then the door opened slowly, revealing a man with spiky, silver hair worn up, a Konoha Ite covering his left eye and a mask covering most of his face. Besides that, there was nothing distinguishable about him. He wore the standard Konoha Junin uniform, with the green flak jacket, blue underjacket and pants with bandage on the bottom. He also wore the standard Konoha ninja sandals. At first glance, you wouldn't think he's all that powerful. Just your normal cyclopean jonin of Konoha. But if only they knew what was under that Ite. Kakashi of the Sharingan. Earlier than usual, I see, said Naruto. Yes. Well, you see, started Kakashi in a bored tone. The Hokage threatened to demote me to Chunin if I got here as late as usual, so I came earlier. PSH. Could have fooled me, said Sakura. Nope. It's 10:55. You waited since 10. Oh. That means you have waited 55 minutes rather than an hour, said Kakashi. Well, anyways, meet me on the roof of this building in 2 minutes. Kakashi then shined out of the building and to the roof. Sakura and Sasuke decided to take the stairs, but looked back when they saw Naruto open a window. Baka. What are you doing? Sakura said as she saw Naruto go out the window, only to be responded with a Naruto casually walking up the academy wall. Let's pretend we never saw that, said Sakura. resulting in a silent nod from Sasuke before they continued running to the stairs. With Naruto. Naruto got to the roof to see a Kakashi casually reading his Icha Icha Paradise with a blush on his face. "You got here faster than I expected, Naruto," said Kakashi. "Wall walking. Yup. Learned it when I was 7, said Naruto with a grin, earning him no response. After a few more seconds of Naruto silently watching, Kakashi read his book. Later. And the other two got there. Sasuke then Sakura. "Okay guys. Let's get things started," said Kakashi. "If you don't mind, take a seat in front of me and explain to me about you." "Like?" asked Sakura. "Well, your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, dreams for the future. Stuff like that," said Kakashi. "And since you asked, would you like to get us started, Pinky?" "Okay, I guess," Sakura said, not appreciating the nickname. "I am Sakura Haruno. My likes include Naruto, Sasuke-kun, picking flowers, dumplings and books. My dislikes include dumb people, spicy foods and anything depressing." "So you hate depressing things but like Sasuke," thought both Naruto and Kakashi to themselves. "My hobbies include arranging flowers in nice ways, writing books, and possibly stalking Sasuke," Sakura continued. "And my dreams? To become a respectable kunoichi and gain the attention of Sasuke-kun. If they pass, I need to do something about Sakura's attitude. She can't go on even a C rank mission with that," thought Kakashi. "Well, that was something. Well, pretty boy. Your turn. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I don't have any likes. And I have too many dislikes to talk about, so I'll skip those. My hobbies include training and thinking about my dream, which is to avenge my clan by killing a certain someone," said the moody Uchiha. "So that's how it is," thought Kakashi. "And you, Blondie? Your turn." "Well, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. My likes include ramen, dancing, and spending time with my friends. My dislikes are those who criticize others with no reason, spoiled brats, and people who give up too easily. Oh, and vegetables. My hobbies include participating in eating contests, watching the clouds, dancing, and my favorite, training. My dream, well, it changed throughout the years. At first it was to make a friend. Then it was to become a shinobi stronger than Inoichi, Choza or Shikaku. Then it was to become Hokage. But now, it's to keep getting stronger. To always be strong enough to protect those I hold dear," Naruto said. The last statement with a grin that reminded him of Obito. A splitting image formed in his mind at how similar they are. Personality-wise. Physically. Everything. It unconsciously caused him to put a hand on his left eye, which was covered by the Hite. "Well, hello Naruto. Sasuke. Sakura. Let's get straight to the point," said Kakashi. "You aren't genin yet." There was no reaction. "You would have got us if Naruto didn't already explain it to us," said Sakura, over and over with him. "This is no ordinary academy graduate," thought Kakashi. "Well, he is correct. And since he already explained it to you, I guess all you need to know is that it happens at 9:00 a.m. tomorrow. At Training Ground 7. Kakashi started walking away before he said, "Oh. And you may not want to eat breakfast. You'll just throw it all up. Yane." "Okay guys. Let me tell you something about this test," said Naruto. "And how would you know this?" said Sasuke. "I'm pretty sure this is not something that would be on his file." "Well, I have other ways," said Naruto. "Anywho. The test he will administer is called the bell test. It is a test about teamwork. What he will do is hold up 2 bells and make it so the one who doesn't get the bell will go back to the academy. Probably also take our hunger as an advantage and deny us lunch because he suggested for us not to eat breakfast. The point of this test is to disrupt our teamwork by saying that at least one of us will be sent back to the academy, making us enter a competitive state. Which is a wonder that anyone falls for that, considering you can't have a 2-person genin team." Sakura and Sasuke were listening with interest at what Naruto was saying, considering the likeness of something like this occurring. Then they felt like idiots when he mentioned that there can't be a 2-person genin team. So, This is what we do. We'll come up with a strategy in the hour that we're waiting for sensei. One that requires a large amount of teamwork and utilizes all of our strengths. That way, we'll be sure to become genin," said Naruto. "Oh. And before I go, one more thing. Whatever you do, don't skip breakfast." Naruto then jumped across the rooftops to the Yamanaka compound, where he left a Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi thinking. When Kakashi left from them, he didn't actually leave. He hid on a nearby rooftop and listened in on their conversation, and was quite surprised. He just heard Naruto explain his secret genin test, the one no one passed, the one no one knew about, and this confused him. How did he know of the test? Kakashi thought to himself. He has access to tons of info that he shouldn't. I need to talk to him. Kakashi then shunshined to behind Naruto, ready to talk to him. With Naruto was jumping across the rooftops of Konoha, thinking of today and all it has achieved. Kakashi as my sensei, huh? This could be interest, thought Naruto to himself. And my teammates. Sakura is my friend, so I'm glad to have her, but she's pretty weak. May require protection. And if she isn't kicked out of that Sasuke fangirling attitude. No, I won't let that happen. Oh, and Sasuke. Strong for our age. In the top percentile of graduates, but that attitude is bad. Lower him a peg or 5 and he may be a good teammate. But alas, he's still a dick. That is when he realized that someone is trailing him, and that the chakra is familiar. Kakashi. Sensei. You can stop trailing me, said Naruto. Oh. You looked lost in thought. Didn't think you would detect me, said Kakashi with a slight hint of surprise in his dull voice. Well, Inu-san. I've felt that chakra so many times that it isn't a question of who or if, said Naruto. So you realized, said Kakashi. You saved me quite a few times, Inu-san. How wouldn't I realize it, said Naruto. Maybe since you were too skillless to sense chakra, said Kakashi. But what is a shinobi's greatest weapon? Asked Naruto. That's right, deception. I used a fuinjutsu to transform myself into the orange-clad idiot. But did lots of training in the background. Now, why would I do this? The dead last is partnered up with the best shinobi in the class. That was smart, Kakashi said in a satisfied voice. MMHMM, said Naruto with a nod. Wait. Fuinjutsu. Is it yours? Asked Kakashi. Yeah, I do that, said Naruto. Only a B-rank specialist though. That's my rank, thought Kakashi. What else did you hide? And while you're at it, how did you know about the bell test? Well, Inu-san. Is this some kind of interrogation? Asked Naruto jokingly. If you have anything to check out, read my new file. After all, I've seen yours. On that note, Naruto left, continuously jumping from roof to roof towards the Yamanaka compound, leaving Kakashi with one final thing in his head. Shit, I forgot to ask about the files. Right now, Ino was a bit annoyed. Naruto told her about the genin exams just yesterday and Ino asked Naruto to train with her what was supposed to be now. But he isn't here. What's taking him so long? Thought that same. Annoyed Ino. His sensei got there after mine. I get it. But I got here 30 minutes ago. As Ino was thinking this, she was pacing back and forth. Something she tends to do when thinking hard. What is causing him to take so low? She was thinking before interrupted by, Hey Ino. Sorry for getting here so late, said Naruto as he entered the room. What took you so long? Asked Ino. I had Kakashi as a sensei, said Naruto. What's that supposed to mean? You never heard of Kakashi's legendary lateness spree? Asked Inoichi as he walked up from behind them. If he's your sensei, I'm surprised you got back so early. This'll be fun, said Ino. Sarcasm dripping from her voice. You may want to pity Sakura for once, said Naruto. She doesn't have the most self-control, to say the least. Nah. Not yet at least, said Ino. Well, on to training, said Naruto. 9:00 a.m. The next day. Training ground 7. As of right at that time, there was no one at the training ground. But there was someone on the way. Sakura. Trying to be as punctual as possible. Maybe or maybe not because her mother forced her, she left early to the training court, but walked slowly with the knowledge that Kakashi would likely get there past 10. But alas, she still had a long wait. But not for company. It was 10 minutes later when Naruto came leisurely strolling to the field. He wasn't expecting anyone. So it came to him as a surprise when he saw Sakura already there, doing light warm-ups for the test. "Hey Sakura-chan. Didn't expect to see you here this early," said Naruto. "Hi Naru-kun," said Sakura. "I'm gonna get Ino back for this," thought Naruto. "I'll start planning the prank right after the test." "Yeah. Parents made me leave early," said Sakura. "I didn't even eat a full breakfast before I left." "Well, I can help with that," said Naruto. To which Sakura raised an eyebrow to prove his point. He sat down, got a scroll from his back pocket, opened it, and slammed his palm on the ceiling array on the opened scroll. With a slight infusion of chakra, a puff of smoke blew from the seal. And soon enough, 3 bento boxes was shown to be there. "We can't have you fighting on an empty stomach," said Naruto with a smile as he held out one of the bento boxes. "Have some." "Are you sure about that? You're a far greater asset to the fight than I am," said Sakura. "This is teamwork, Sakura. Our chances of passing is about as strong as our weakest link. So don't worry about me," said Naruto reassuringly. "And besides, I've fought on far worse than an empty stomach. Not that that's an issue in this case." "Okay, fine. If you insist," said Sakura as she hesitantly grabbed one of the boxes. Naruto then gave her a pair of chopsticks. And they ate. Naruto 2 boxes. Sakura 1. 10 minutes later, both Sakura and Naruto finished their breakfasts and were in the middle of a fun conversation when Sasuke's image became visible just about 100 meters away. "Hi Sasuke-kun," Sakura called out as she waved at Sasuke frantically. To which Sasuke responded with arriving at their location and giving a solid HN. "So Sasuke, you had breakfast, right?" asked Naruto. "Naturally," responded Sasuke. "So can we start planning?" Stole the words right out of my mouth, Naruto said as he took a scroll out of his pooch. That then, in a puff of smoke, grew to about 2 feet tall. He then undid the scroll, took out a normal pen, and made general markings on the paper of the clearing they were in and the trees surrounding it. "So, shall we begin?" said Naruto, intentionally not saying it as a question. "The more effectively placed our teamwork is the better. So we should try overwhelming him before going for the finishing combo," said Naruto. "Yeah. But he's a Junin. How can we overwhelm him?" said Sakura. "And if what you say is correct, a very powerful one as well." "Yeah. He became a Junin at age 10. And became an Anbu captain at around our age. He is by no means weak," said Naruto. "But I've fought my fair share of Junin before. I can tire him." "I don't see you as a Junin," said Sasuke. "I have my reasons. Ones that I can't really mention as of now," said Naruto. "Believe me when I say that I could have been one by now. But it wouldn't have had a favorable outcome." Sasuke decided he'll just wait and see. "Regardless, I still believe we should have a backup plan just in case you can't hold him," said Sasuke. "It's always nice to take precautions," said Naruto. 15 minutes later. "And once we've forced Kakashi into a substitution, one of my clones will find Kakashi-sensei. And he'll surely allow us to pass," said Naruto. They have been spending the entirety of the past 15 minutes coming up with plans A, B, C, and D for what they'll do against their sensei. All of which involve teamwork to some extent. But beyond that, they wanted to show their individual abilities. But that wasn't Plan A. Plan A was quick, easy and efficient, with all of them contributing to the final blow. But Naruto was the only one to do any significant work. They hoped not to resort to plans B and up. "I guess that'll work," said Sasuke. "We may not be able to beat him, but no one is expecting us to. But regardless, we'll get closer than anyone is expecting." "So you do believe in my strength?" said Naruto. "No, not yet. But I'm going under the assumption that Plan A will work," said Sasuke. "Well then, Just watch and learn, I guess, said Naruto. They then spent the remaining 20 minutes or so doing warm-ups to get their blood flowing. For once happy with their sensei's tardiness. That's not saying much considering it's been only 2 meetings. When they finished their individual warm-ups, Kakashi showed up. He was still reading his book. I need to know what that book is, thought the 3 of them in unison. Hey guys. You ready to begin? Asked Kakashi. Not that it matters. After saying that, he showed 2 bells and started explaining the test. Okay. This is what we call the bell test. He was right, thought both Sasuke and Sakura in unison. The point of this test is to get one of these bells before the 3-hour time limit is up. Now, something you may want to know about this test is that since there are 2 bells and 3 people, the one of you that don't get the bell will get sent back to the academy and denied lunch. The area limit is a mile in any direction from this point. You will see markers as to where it is, Kakashi said, resulting in no reaction from the students since they already knew. Oh, and one final thing. If you don't come at me with the intent to kill, you won't pass. At this, both Sakura and Sasuke looked ready to start, while Naruto gave no reaction. They were to go with Plan A. Ready. Go, Kakashi said, resulting in Sasuke and Sakura jumping away, and Naruto staying where he is. Oh, Naruto. Aren't you gonna hide like the rest of them? Asked Kakashi. Nah. I've wanted to fight you for years now. And this is the perfect chance. Kakashi of the Sharingan, stated Naruto. He really did read my file, thought Kakashi. Considering your posture, you're not taking me seriously, stated Naruto. It appears you didn't bother reading my file. Some ego you have there, said Kakashi. I just feel sure of myself. I mean, I've beat a few Junin myself, said Naruto bluntly. You'll find that I'm no ordinary genin. Suddenly, in a split second, Naruto released his resistance seals and ran behind Kakashi. Once there, he placed a kunai to his neck. Surprising Kakashi. Impressive, Kakashi said before he substituted with a log and stabbed Naruto from behind with a kunai in his hand, drawing blood. But I'm a Junin for a reason, you know. Yeah, Naruto said unfazed before he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Now a new Naruto came in from behind Kakashi and kicked Kakashi off the branch, and so was Asuma. Impressive, Kakashi said before he substituted with a log and stabbed Naruto from behind with a kunai in his hand, drawing blood. But I'm a Junin for a reason, you know. Yeah, Naruto said unfazed before he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Now a new Naruto came in from behind Kakashi and kicked Kakashi off the branch, and so was Asuma. While Kakashi was falling off the branch, he only had one thing on his mind. Did he actually? This thought distracted him enough so that when he landed on his feet, he didn't notice a Naruto shadow clone come in from next to him and trip him. Then as Kakashi was falling, a second clone came in and kicked him square in the back, causing him to fly upwards. But this didn't last long as the original Naruto jumped from the branch with the intent of knocking Kakashi back to the ground. But unfortunately, Kakashi had enough time to react to this. So as Naruto went for the kick, Kakashi managed to grab his leg and throw him towards the ground at the 2 clones. The clones dodged this, and Naruto landed gracefully on the ground. And the fact that a crater didn't form reminded Kakashi of something. I see you decided not to wear your weighted cloak before the battle. Is there a reason? Asked Kakashi as he reached the ground. I just moved my resistance seals up to level 7 just yesterday. And I guessed that moving around with the level 7 seals is hard enough without the additional 70 kilos. Said Naruto. Level 7. 70 kilos. What are these numbers doing with an academy graduate? Thought Kakashi in a minor outrage. Now, enough chit-chat. Time to get serious. After Naruto said this, Naruto's 2 clones stepped in front of Naruto and started forming hand signs. Then, I decided that I will do the jutsus in Japanese and put the English translation after it. Kaden. Karyu Enden. Fire style. Fire dragon missile. Both Narutos intoned in sync as they filled their lungs to past normal capacity with air, and flooded their mouth with fire chakra. As they violently exhaled, Two streams of fire fired at Kakashi at deadly speeds. And Kakashi had to take immediate measures. Kakashi immediately flashed through 6 hand signs and flooded his mouth with water-style chakra before saying, Suijin. Suijinheki, water-style. Water wall. After he said that, a large amount of water exited Kakashi's mouth at high pressures and took up a large area before colliding with the fire. Originally, the water was winning. But as the clones put more chakra into the 2 streams of fire, it started to balance out. But that was before the real Naruto decided to fan the flames. After 5 hand signs from the original, he also decided to fill his lungs past capacity before Fuuden. Daitopa, wind style. Great breakthrough, as the original Naruto exhaled. High pressure wind exited his mouth, and a lot of it. When it interacted with the fire, it almost seemed like the fire was going to go out for a second, before it turned into a raging storm. The flames became white and glowed to a blinding extent. The fire streams grew exponentially compared to what it once was. And the speed of the fire grew as well. And this presented a challenge for Kakashi. You see, when the flames grew so hot, fast and large, he was forced to go full throttle on the water wall. Which worked but presented other issues. Kakashi was using too much chakra for his jutsu. And he knew it. So in order to avoid wasting half of his chakra on a jutsu struggle, he went with a different strategy. Kakashi immediately stopped his jutsu. And just barely dodged the stream of white flames. Now, Kakashi was running around Naruto in a large circle, to which Naruto and the clones just twisted to compensate, constantly re-aiming the flames to hit Kakashi. And once the fire got dangerously close, he flashed through 4 hand signs and said, Doden. Doryuheki, earth style. Mud wall. He then slammed his palms on the ground and out came a 7-foot tall, upwards of 12-foot wide, wall of pure stone. The flames had a bit of trouble getting rid of it. So instead of wasting unnecessary chakra, the 3 stopped what they were doing. And the 2 clones made 3 hand signs before. Raiden. Jibashi, lightning style. Electromagnetic murder. From that, 2 streams of pure electricity charged at the wall. And once it hit, it forced the wall to shatter due to the earth is weak to lightning rule. As the wall was shattering, the real Naruto stared from behind his 2 clones at said wall, awaiting the rock's full fracture. When the wall inevitably crumbled, Naruto saw that Kakashi wasn't there. So he knew what happened. The original Naruto jumped off the ground and immediately started forming hand signs. At 2 hand signs, Kakashi's arms, covered in chakra, came out of the ground, and grabbed an ankle of each of the 2 clones respectively and, popping them. At 4 hand signs, Kakashi's face could be seen as it popped out of the ground. And when Naruto was done forming the jutsu and had his pointer finger and thumb in the shape of a circle over his mouth, Kakashi was less than a yard away from him, but he wouldn't make it on time. Kaden. Gukakyu no Jutsu, fire style. Fireball jutsu, said the now only Naruto as he exhaled. Faster than any spectator thought Kakashi could dodge. A fireball approximately a meter in diameter came through the circle Naruto made with his 2 fingers and flew straight at Kakashi. And it looked like it hit. But when the flames dissipated, he could see the log of wood from earlier turn to charcoal. Looking back and up, Naruto could see Kakashi standing on the branch that he kicked him off of earlier. He turned around to face him as he jumped off of the branch. And a new dialogue has begun. Sasuke saw the entirety of this match. The shadow clones. The massive flames. The lightning. All of it. And while he was decently surprised with Kakashi, Naruto was a whole different ballpark. I mean, he's younger than Sasuke himself by over 2 months. That is impressive, thought Sasuke, completely dumbfounded. Glad to know he won't hold me back. I see you weren't kidding, said Kakashi. I've already used over 1/3 of my chakra. And you're the one using all the flashy jutsu. So you're admitting I'm better? Asked Naruto with a shit-eating grin on his face. Not yet. I have a trick or 2 yet unshown, said Kakashi. Same for me. So let's step it up a notch, Naruto said with his eyes closed, only to open them a second later. And they looked different. The white parts stayed the same. And the pupils too. But besides that, everything is different. The areas once inhabited by ocean blue became blood red. And it didn't stay at that. In fact, there were 3 curved raindrop shapes surrounding the pupil. What those who know the Sharingan call tomos. How in the FCK does Naruto have the Sharingan? Thought Sasuke. Do I have family after all? No. Impossible. He must have stolen them. Kakashi's eye went wide in absolute surprise at the sight. A child of his age mastering the Sharingan. It's been unseen or heard of since Itachi. And Kakashi could not suppress his curiosity. Since when? Kakashi couldn't help but ask. Remember the Suna Nukanen? Said Naruto. That was before you turned 7. Said Kakashi. You've had it for that long. What no? Said Naruto as the most cocky smirk in all of history made its way to his face. That was when I unlocked my 3rd tomo. What? Half-asked Kakashi before he started to calm down. Well, you've had a lot of experience with it then. Let's see how it stands up to mine. As he said that, Kakashi reached for his Hite Ite and slowly lifted up the part covering his left eye. As it came off, Naruto and the 2 other secret spectators, Sasuke and Sakura if you didn't get that, saw his eye closed. Soon to be opened to reveal the same kind of eye Naruto had. Which only served to aggravate Sasuke even more. So, I see you're finally taking me seriously. Said Naruto. Well, I can't let you guys pass that easily. Said Kakashi. I need to hold out until you've demonstrated the skill needed to pass. Cut the crap. Don't say, the skill, like we don't know. I know you heard the conversation. Said Naruto as he got his fingers into the cross shape we are all so familiar with. I see you have quite the reserves. But it takes more than that to hold me off. Said Kakashi. We'll see. Said Naruto as 19 more Naruto came into existence in puffs of smoke. Naruto then turned to the rest of the clones before announcing the plan. Everyone get into formation. 12 of you go stall Kakashi as me and 7 others charge up that jutsu. If he's willing to use 12 shadow clones to stall for time. This must be one hell of a jutsu. Kakashi thought and he put his 2 pointer and middle fingers in the cross shape. Creating 5 more Kakashis. And I'm sure as hell not eager to figure out what it is. So the real Naruto and 7 others ran back to perform the jutsu while the 12 clones stood about 12 feet in front of the 6 Kakashis. In position to hold them back for however long it takes. After about 4 seconds, the 8 Narutos in the back decided to start slowly forming hand signs. And at that, the battle begun. The 6 Kakashis ran towards the 12 Narutos and an all-out brawl of taijutsu came into play. The Narutos were beating the Kakashis until the Kakashis decided to insert small amounts of electricity into their arms, making the Naruto clones dissipate on contact. Until the Naruto clones did the same thing with wind. And since lightning is weak to wind, it was the Kakashi clones' turn to dissipate. Eventually, they made a temporary stop with the Naruto clones standing in a circle around the Kakashi ones 8-4. And as the clones preparing the jutsu reached their 15th hand sign, the Narutos got back to work. 4 of the Naruto clones surrounding the Kakashi ones jumped back as the other 4 started flashing through hand signs. Doden. Doryutaya, Earth Style. Great Mudflow. As he said this, the ground in front of the 4 Narutos surrounding Kakashi and his 3 clones turned to a thick mud and rushed at the 4 Kakashis. And while 3 of them jumped upwards and managed to narrowly escape, one of them tripped and got stuck at the intersecting mud flows, causing its dissipation at the hands of the mud. And the other 3 Kakashis retaliated in response. As they were in the air over the converging mud rapids, the 3 Kakashis blazed through 4 hand signs before Raiden. Kagekiya. Lightning Style. Emotion Wave. After they said that, 3 widespread waves of pure electricity spread over the entire area of the 4 clones, and caused mass electrocution for the 4 of them. This soon became smoke as the 4 clones dissipated, leaving the 3 Kakashis wide open. The 4 Narutos made 7 hand signs, the last of which being the tiger seal pointed in the direction of the 3 Kakashis as they said in unison. Fuuden. Kazekiri no Jutsu, Wind Style. Wind Blade Jutsu. Each clone launched a crescent blade of wind at the falling Kakashis, hoping to get both of the clones out of the way to make their job easier, and they half succeeded. As the blades of wind approached the three free-falling Junin, it became apparent that Kakashi was no ordinary one. He had the Sharingan, and he decided to make good use of it. The three of the clones moved their body mid-air while constantly checking for the trajectory of the projectile wind blades. This worked for two of them, but it was impossible for the third, so he ended taking it head-on, splitting in half before vanishing in a puff of smoke. Then, after the clones landed, came another short standoff. Three of the four Naruto clones stared intently at the two Kakashis, but then there was one who was focusing on how the jutsu was going, and let out a grin at how close they were. This didn't go unnoticed by the Kakashis, however. I see the jutsu is nearing completion. I can't allow that. Then, one of the Kakashis made 5 hand signs before saying, Doden, Rokusupaiku no Jutsu, Earth Style, Earthen Spikes Jutsu. After he said that, 8 large spikes of stone came out of the ground in a circular formation around the 4 clones and converged on them, eventually forming a pyramid that popped 3 of the clones. But the 4th clone ducked to dodge. The Kakashis assumed that the last clone got stuck within the pyramid of spikes, so they decided to run at the ones forming the large jutsu. But when they were less than 30 feet away, the ground beneath them suddenly blew up. This forced one of the clones to pop and the real Kakashi to get flown back, partially injured. But it wasn't until the clone came out of the ground that Kakashi realized what happened. Doden, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Earth Style, Headhunter Jutsu, said the Naruto clone as he got out of the ground. But how? I learned that technique from copying an Iwa nin. How would you know it? Asked Kakashi as he shaked off the dizziness in his head. I didn't about a minute ago, said Naruto. Wait. Does that mean? Asked Kakashi, assuming Naruto already knew what he was talking about. Yup. I had my Sharingan on the whole fight, just under transformation to make it look like my real eyes, said Naruto. It's funny really. I didn't know a single one of the jutsu you used this fight. But now I have 5 new ninjutsu in my repertoire, making that 30 ninjutsu. HMPH. That is quite impressive. Wait, said Kakashi as he realized what just happened. You're stalling for time. And you were too late to realize it. Yane, said the last clone as he released himself. When the smoke cleared out, Kakashi saw that the 8 Narutos were in their last hand seal, the bird seal. After they released that seal, they each had an open palm with a direct course for the ground. So, Naruto is using an widespread offensive water jutsu. He's planning something. But what? Thought Kakashi to himself as he started the hand signs for the earth wall. But whatever it is, I'm falling for it. Sweden. Choseki Roku. Water Style. Tidal Lock, said the 8 Narutos as they slammed their hand into the ground. Then, from the ground in front of the 8 Narutos, tens of thousands of gallons of water came spewing out in Kakashi's general direction. And Kakashi was just barely able to finish his hand signs before he got hit. Doden, Doryuheki, Earth Style, Mud Wall, an 8-foot tall, 15-foot wide, over 2-foot thick wall of stone erupted from the ground in front of Kakashi, and it was able to stop the torrent. For the time being, Naruto as well as Kakashi noticed that the wall was slowly eroding due to the sheer water pressure, and they estimated a minute max of stability. So Kakashi got to work formulating a plan. He looked over the wall to gain all the info needed. So I can't go sideways unless I want to make a secondary jump from the water. Too risky. I can go backwards, but that's a bit cheap. I'll use it if I have to. I can't bet that there are no more traps beneath the ground since I got here late. And over isn't an option because the 7 Narutos are. Wait, what happened to the 8th? His mental question was soon answered with the words, Doden, Ni Banmi Doryuden no Jutsu, Earth Style, Dual Mud Dragon. Shit. Kakashi quickly said as 2 mud, serpentine dragons stood next to a Sharingan blonde. Then Naruto made 5 hand signs before saying, Kaiten, Ryu no Hano no Bakuden, Fire Style, Dragon Flame Bomb Jutsu. The dragons opened their mouths at this, and fire built up. Then, The fire escaped in many fast-moving bullets towards Kakashi. Kakashi's mind and Sharingan eye immediately went into overdrive as he dodged the fire bullets as he slowly made progress towards Naruto. When Naruto realized this, as he let out a smirk and applied more chakra into the jutsu, making the fireballs come out faster from the dragon's mouths. Kakashi, seeing as how he couldn't dodge anymore, flashed through a few hand signs before saying, Sweden no jutsu, water style, water missile jutsu. The water collided with the rapidly launching fireballs and caused a massive cloud of steam to form around them. But it was 2 seconds later that Kakashi realized that this is what Naruto planned. Raiden, Jibashi, lightning style, electromagnetic murder. From that, electricity discharged throughout the entire cloud of steam towards Kakashi. With nowhere to dodge, no way to defend, and the possibility of electrocution, he pulled out his trump card, Raiton. Chidori. Number translation needed, I suppose. As the electricity reached Kakashi, he didn't dodge, but absorb. He used the electricity to power up the Chidori, and as the steam dissipated, him with a supercharged Chidori in his hand was the only thing seen, and it was then that Kakashi realized that this was also what Naruto was planning. How? You may ask. Well, Naruto had his Sharingan activated. He just learned the new technique. I'm impressed. Making me use Chidori is no minor feat. I guess you may be able to beat Asuma after all, said Kakashi. You've been hiding quite a bit, Naru. Kakashi said, stopping as he heard crack forming in the wall behind him. Oh she. Kakashi was soon blasted forward, Chidori in hand towards Naruto. Thousands of gallons of water crashing into his back, and he was unable to stop it. Kakashi looked up a split second later to see a look of horror on Naruto's face. This was not part of his plan. Shit. I did not foresee this, thought Naruto as he started to move out of the way. Kakashi has his hand out. If I don't dodge in time, I'll die. But if he puts his hand in the water, it'll electrocute the water, killing us both. I need to dodge. Naruto kept pushing every muscle sideways, but it never seemed to be enough. Kakashi was uncontrollably rushing towards him, with no way to stop himself, and no way to avoid killing Naruto, unless if Naruto moved out of the way. The Sharingan was taking in the water's movement. Every twitch Kakashi made, every millisecond perfectly visible to him, but he couldn't do anything about the lightning blade aiming straight for his chest. No, I don't want to die, Naruto thought as he applied even more chakra to his limbs, now flooding his limbs with almost every ounce of chakra he had, flooding his eyes with chakra to look for any chance to increase efficiency or take a change of path into account. I will survive. With one final push of chakra, his body was flooded past its normal limits. And then, everything stopped. He moved like normal, but everything else stopped. He looked around and saw Kakashi and the water moving at a barely noticeable pace. He walked up to Kakashi, seeing how he looked like he was put on pause. But the slow chirping sound and slow movement of lightning present in his right hand. He held his left eye, realizing how much chakra was being absorbed into the eye. But assuming it had something to do with this, he continuously pushed chakra into his left eye. Soon though, something unexpected happened. Points, openings per se, became visible throughout his skin in massive numbers. Through the points he saw blue energy flowing through it, which looking at Kakashi's right forearm turned into a brighter white color before being expelled by the points on his hand. Why is everything but me moving in slow motion? And what are those points and pathways throughout Sensei's body? Thought Naruto to himself in absolute confusion. Questions for later, I guess. Seeing as how he now had the ability to dodge because everything is moving in slow motion, and how this ability is using up a shitload of his chakra, he decided that now was his chance. He casually walked out of the way before cutting off most of the chakra to his eyes. Startled at the sudden transition to a normal pace, he saw how Kakashi suddenly moved at fast speeds, saw the full power of his water jutsu and what his fate could have been. And Kakashi, he saw a quick burst of movement from Naruto, lasting less than a second, before he was beside him, seeing for a split second the unusual eyes Naruto possessed before being thankful that one way or another, Naruto managed to dodge. This gave him time to defuse his Chidori before the huge amount of water slammed him into the ground. Water was rising over Kakashi as he was in a crater in the ground, being constantly pushed downwards by the torrent of water washing over him. Before what felt like a minute or two later, it stopped. What could be seen was a Kakashi laying down in a muddy crater. Remains of the massive stream of water ever present as the 7 clones maintaining the jutsu dissipated in puffs of smoke. Away from the main fight, Sasuke and Sakura was showing awe at the sheer magnitude of the jutsu. Sure, he showed it at the academy graduation, but not to this extent. Naruto just released a jutsu so powerful it sent one of Konoha's most advanced jonin into a state of near unconsciousness. And somehow, in the most unexplainable way possible, he dodged what was supposed to be a lightning blade to the heart, in a burst of speed that didn't appear humanly possible. But Kakashi managed to get up from that torrent, realizing full well that he was wide open at this point. He's been beaten into exhaustion, actually putting a significant effort into standing, something he thought he would never have to do. His chakra reserves was at a near all-time low. He doubted he could pull off a fireball jutsu without fainting. And his other ninja tools were crushed and damaged within the extreme pressure. And his eye having to be put away due to its sheer chakra requirement. And Naruto was little better. Sure, he wasn't beaten to even close to the same extent. And sure, he still had his tools. But the previous 2 minutes of his life has been more chakra draining than any training he has ever done. He couldn't get up, barely even able to keep his eyes open, let alone the Sharingan. On his knees, he looked at Kakashi with exhausted blue eyes, and a smirk on his face before beginning to talk. You have been my greatest battle. I'm still a couple months too soon to expect to take you on, Kakashi of the Sharingan, said Naruto. So it's lucky that I don't have to. As Naruto said that, 3 kunai was launched at him from the trees directly behind him, which he narrowly dodged. Then as he was in motion, a fireball same in his direction, forcing him into a substitution. As soon as Kakashi got to his location, he felt cold metal on his neck. There stood one of Naruto's clones, in position to finish the battle. I guess that's what I get for being late, said Kakashi. Fine. You all pass. Everyone heard this as they approached the location, smiling as the clone dispelled. Glad to hear it, sensei, said Naruto. Okay. You're a weird case. I don't know what I'm supposed to teach you that you can't teach yourself, said Kakashi. And that ability you showed with your eyes. It appears you awakened something powerful. If it's what I think, then I need to get you to the Hokage tomorrow at the latest. The two of them, seemingly completely forgotten of Naruto's show, suddenly remembered and started bombarding him with questions. How did you get so powerful? How did you use all 5 elements? What was that massive water jutsu? How did you move so fast? Are you a Junin in disguise? Anbu. Okay guys. That's enough, said Kakashi. We'll answer those questions in due time. In the meantime, it's still about 10. Oh, if you don't mind having an early lunch. Maybe get to know each other a bit better. Sure, said 2 of them in unison while a third just and guess who? But agree regardless. On the way to lunch, half of them didn't talk much. Sakura was originally trying to gain Sasuke's attention, but she supposed he was too deep in thought after 5 minutes of no response, so she talked to Naruto instead, to which she got an immediate response. The conversation mainly revolved around the test but drifted onto a few other topics. Some of it involving training, some of it on what they did recently, some contributed more than others, and some was just the students asking Kakashi on his story with the Anbu. By Naruto's request, they went to Ichiraku's where they continued their conversation. And it was apparent to Kakashi that they just clicked as a team. The next day, Kakashi told the team to go to Training Ground 7 where he said they would go over the daily schedule and training regimens. And Naruto woke up early out of anticipation, currently eating in the kitchen. Hey Naruto. I see you woke up early, said Ino. Of course, Naruto said as he took another bite of the eggs he made for himself. I want to pick up Sakura before the training. Maybe give her a few tips or whatnot. But you'll still be training with me tonight, right? Ino asked. And underlying, say no. I dare you, tone easily apparent to Naruto. Of course Ino-chan. Maybe we could go to our spot by the hidden lake in Senju Park to do so. Wouldn't mind going for a swim afterwards, said Naruto. Yeah. That'll be fun, said Ino. So they continued in peace. Ino got some cereal and started eating next to Naruto at home by themselves. Mina and Inoichi were sleeping in late because the previous day they came back at 4:00 a.m. from a mission to Kusagakure. And were still fast asleep. They were mainly talking about their senseis. What they thought about them and what not. Naruto in particular was talking about the first fight he lost in months and the slow motion thing happened. It lasted a few minutes before Naruto decided it was about time to pick up Sakura. So he double-checked his Anbu-style gear, minus the cloak and mask. Checked his equipment and headed for the door. Bye Ino-chan. Let's try to meet at our area at about 6. Oh, okay. Asked Naruto as he held the doorknob. Yeah. See you later Naruto-kun, said Ino in a happy tone. So Naruto just walked out the door towards Sakura's house in hopes of getting a good conversation in before Kakashi gets to the training ground. When he got there he was relieved that Sakura was still happy to see him. But unfortunately still did not drop the nickname. At the training ground, Sasuke actually decided to join in on the conversation. Much to all of their absolute surprise. And it took less than an hour before Kakashi got there. He didn't give a tired expression either. From the 20% of his face they could even see, he looked happy to be there. Everyone knew that everything worked out. A great team was being made. And they knew it.